Presentable? You looking good for the TV?
Oh, yeah, right.
We're on low def. Think we're- All right. Good evening, Litchfield, and welcome to the Thursday, February 8th, 2024 meeting of the Litchfield Conservation Commission. I call this meeting to order at 6:35 p.m. Let's please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Ms. Polanski, could you take us through the roll call?
Mr. Hoffman.
Here.
Mr. Mazigan.
Here.
Diane Plansky is present. Mr. Chair.
Here.
Vice Chair.
Here.
Mr. French.
Here.
Lavash.
Here.
And Mr. Lynch.
Here.
Selectman Lynch is present.
Okay, so we've got Mr. Croto, who is missing tonight, so we'll put Mr. French, okay to go into the voting roll? Okay, cool. Good to go. So public input related to non-agenda items. Anybody here for public input? Okay, we'll open that up at 6:36 and we'll close it at 6:36. New business. Item 1 under new business, Talarico Street Conservation Open Space Area. You guys want to come on up to the table, state your names. Got any handouts? You can pass those out.
You get the documents I sent, everybody has, because I have hard copies too.
Yep, we've got, everybody got everything. We've got the stuff on the screen.
I'll take a hard copy though. I'm still old school. Oops, thanks. Thank you.
Okay, so I believe, just to kind of lay a little bit of the groundwork here, I believe we have a proposal in front of us for Talarico and what could potentially happen to the open space behind the development. And I think the folks here are going to talk a little bit about that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, my name is Doug McGuire. I'm with the DeBay Group, and also with me is Attorney Sullivan. So I just handed out just a quick overview that would help just visualize as we're discussing through the various items that Attorney Sullivan had sent over to you in draft form for your review. There was a number of items. There were a handful of drainage easements that were going to be for benefit of the town for existing drainage ways and improvements for the development. Those are shown in blue on the plans. And then we're here mainly to talk about the two open space parcels, which are the two parcels shown in green, highlighted, as well as a access point, an additional access point to the open space from the cul-de-sac area, even though it does have frontage also on Charles Bancroft Highway at two locations, but just to be able to access from the other side, we have an easement there. And mainly here to discuss the intentions of the open space, maintenance, ownership, all of those items, and Attorney Sullivan can get into the details on that piece.
Why don't we just talk about the drainage and access easements? So it's just a plain vanilla access easement granted to the town on your plan. They go over lots 4 and 5, which is
These two.
over in the front, coming off of Morrill Street. And then 16 and 17 are over by the open space lot, you have at 64.
Could you repeat that again and maybe hold the
The
map
blue.
up?
Sure.
He's talking about the blue.
I can point to it.
He's talking the blue.
Yeah.
The blue?
Hold on, I'm calling
okay.
the plan up too.
So we have 3 drainage easements.
We're back to reality, guys.
Yeah.
Okay?
Diane, can I see those 3 papers that you got, the hard copies?
I
Yes,
like
ma'am.
that comment.
So do I.
To Joe.
These things, they're like flickers.
I thought that was originally included in the verbiage that we first got,
Yep.
but it's not. Changes.
Yeah, I noticed.
Yeah.
You color coded those, correct?
Let me see if I can.
The colors.
Not the best in the world.
Very nice.
So the 2 drainage easements that were just mentioned.
Right there.
Oh,
Yeah, they are.
See, took a picture with my phone, I emailed it to myself, and up on the screen.
Good
What
day.
You can do that.
Could you slide it
Slide to the
that
right.
way? Other way.
The other way,
The other way.
the other way towards
All right,
Borough.
right there.
There it is, yeah.
So these are your first 2 that he was speaking
Yeah.
of, and then that's one, and this encumbers a partial portion of that just on the access end, but mainly on this lot here.
So, starting from the top right, that's 27 and 28. These are 20-foot wide easements, 10 on center straddling the lot. So we have 27, 28. Across the street is 4 and 5. Down below is 16 and 17. The large section is all 17, but it's not all of 17, because the portion to the right-hand side is.
Okay, is that large drainage easement all on lot 17? Or is there a lot line there on my,
There's a lot line.
There's a, yeah,
This is all, a portion is 16, everything else is 17, and right here is the rest of 17.
so the large portion of the drainage, the basin is on 17?
Correct.
That's somebody
But it
else?
does not encompass all of 17, it's just.
Why can't it be a separate lot?
Why not? It doesn't have to
Why
be.
does it have to
It
be
do-
on
it doesn't
somebody's
have to
lot?
be.
Well, just because the discussion was, I mean, originally we had the drainage in the open space.
Right.
And so that was desired to be taken out, so we put it on, it has to be on someone's lot, I mean, because unless we were gonna be making a
Nothing wrong
non-buildable
with
lot with no frontage,
So
it would have to be on someone's lot. So, what we chose to do, just to explain that a little bit,
I understand this.
so, I'm gonna go right to the detail sheet of that, you know, actually the grading that shows the pond, and I can maybe help explain that a little bit better.
I remember
but-
that discussion.
Essentially, what you have here is
Detention basin, right there, okay.
the detention system, infiltration system is out in the back here.
Right.
We chose to put this on this lot.
Ah.
Okay, and the reason we did that is because we could have, you know, split it down the middle of 2 lots or something, but we put it on this lot because we figured from an enforcement standpoint, or however you wanna think of it, this lot, they have a clear back boundary line where it doesn't go into that. So we kinda put it, this is kinda wrapping around the corner behind these houses, but they're gonna have a very clear delineated with meets and bounds lot line back there. So that's why we chose to put it on this lot.
So my question is, why not just bring this lot line down like you have it on here, or make the drainage area on its own lot? We have one, Fallon Drive has their own lot as a drainage.
So the reason we didn't is because the only way to, you wouldn't be able to do that and make this a legally conforming lot.
It's not a building lot, though.
Well, you're saying stripe this right through and make that its own non-buildable lot.
Yeah.
I mean, if the town is okay with that, I mean, I've had experiences in other towns where it doesn't really matter if it's non-buildable or not. They don't want like an orphaned lot with no legal frontage except via easement, you know, so.
Because we probably don't wanna maintain that. Town probably doesn't wanna.
Well, I think the town has to because that's the drainage system of the public road. And, you know, the pipe goes out there, that's the system that,
Town can maintain the pipes in the right-of-way, but this is separate.
John, if I may, I don't believe the town has done that anywhere else. I don't believe the town is not maintaining the
They have,
detention pond.
Mr. Beals over on Weatherstone is a HOA. Fallon Court, still, the developer still owns it. K&M
This
still
is
owns
not an
Hamel.
HOA though.
Only HOA is Mr. Beals on Weatherstone.
Right, this won't be an HOA. That's why we did it the way that we did it. This is very similar to the way Concord does it, very similar to the way Manchester
Well, why
does
won't it be an HOA? After I,
We don't,
after,
we don't
after I,
want, we don't want an HOA. We don't wanna have anything to do with the maintenance of anything. If we
And I
can-
concur with this discussion on his side. 90% of the drainages, okay, if you've got an easement, it's part of the drainage system coming through the system. The town has to maintain that detention basin, or somebody has. HOA is the first time I come across this recently. And I'm not a fan of it, and I'll be the first to say it. Okay.
Second reason too, just to
Yeah.
follow up on that real quick, is if you recall, a lot of these catch basins right now, they're not looking at putting sumps in them, okay? So that means whatever travels in that you're putting on the road, salt, sand, everything else goes directly into that detention pond.
Mm-hmm.
Who's creating the nuisance in the detention pond for an HOA? It would be the town's responsibility to go take what they put out on the road from the pond.
Yep.
It becomes a real legal quagmire, and that's why we don't wanna even get into that. And when we've run across this in a couple of communities right now where, you know, there's silt and sand in there, and they have sumps, so that the city was responsible for pumping
Can
it.
clean it,
These
yeah.
don't even, a lot of these aren't even gonna have sumps, it's going directly into that detention area, so it's a real concern.
Do we have any that we are pumping, Kevin?
Not that I know of.
what pump? We're
Cleaning,
pumping, we're
main-
cleaning catch basins.
Maintaining.
Well, we're always gonna maintain catch basins, okay?
This
That's
is
part of the
different
closed,
though,
that's a
right.
closed drainage system. Where the outfall goes into that's called detention, to increase the flow or decrease the flow going out onto somebody else's land.
Right.
It's a retention area. That's what this is all about. And you don't really maintain these things, you can, okay?
MS4 said you better
But
maintain.
in this case here, it's large enough, it's gonna handle itself.
You
Okay.
do have to cut down
Yeah,
vegetation.
it grows up, vegetation
If you
grows
do
up.
in this case, you do a little bit, but once that's done, that's fine.
Go out, look in Fallon and look at how much is growing up down there.
And that's fine, but we don't even maintain, we should be maintaining ours. And we
Right,
don't.
And that one's owned by VAB,
And,
so
yeah,
they're
but
gonna.
we don't have HOMAs. And now we're coming up with these things, and I'm not a fan of those. Okay, I'll be honest, I don't think we should have to do it.
That, you're not a fan of it, but
The
that
town
means
should be
the town has
responsible
to-
for the drainage.
The town isn't building this subdivision, so that town has to
No,
maintain it.
but the
now.
town is paying for the drain, and we are gonna pay for the extended drainage on that in the future, no matter what.
Say it again, what?
The HOMA is a new thing that I'm hearing about just recently.
Homeowners Association.
Right.
Stabile has one.
Yeah, that's nice of him.
Weatherspoon.
That's nice
Weatherspoon.
of him. It's not a requirement, though.
No, it's not a requirement.
Okay.
Well, is the Stabile a town roadway?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Oh, okay. I mean, because that's the unusual, I mean,
Very
typically, if you had, if this was a condominium development, then of course, the
Like stage
condominium
crossing.
association
Yep.
would handle everything, but this is gonna be a town roadway with a right-of-way, public road, with all closed drainage built to the standards of the town, and then the outfall of that said drainage system is also, it's all one system. I mean, you know, it's all working together. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I mean, when it comes to the Conservation Commission, I don't really know if that's something you guys have to worry about, because the town,
Well, like
the
the-
planning board,
Planning
Right,
board.
Yeah.
planning board
Planning
issue,
board's function.
like it, boom.
But for reference purposes, I think it's kind of important to determine how we handle this in other parts of town. I called up Weatherstone right here, Joan, where they've got a pretty big drainage easement there. Owner,
See that off of,
owner Stabile Homes at so it must be some sort of homeowners
Yeah, they
association.
do have,
Who is responsible for maintaining that?
the homeowners association.
Okay.
Is it in the deeds?
That's so big and so, I mean, I don't know that they ever have to do anything over there. It was really, it's been there for a long time,
We haven't had a thing to do with it.
before.
I'll also say too, with our design, the way we did it, it is intended to be very maintenance-free, and I'll tell you why. You can see that we have like a two-pond system going on. It's like there's a large depression at the entrance, and then there's a secondary. The first depression is not being credited for any infiltration or anything, so essentially, the dirty water can come in, the stuff with the sediment and whatever, sands, it can sit in there, and that's a very large open basin. That's for detention only. The water can settle out, and when it goes to the second one, that's where we're looking to get credit for infiltration and kind of recharge on our system. So it's kind of a good design to be low maintenance, but my guess is that the town would want to have that ability and responsibility, because if there's ever a problem, a clog or anything, they have the full right to get right in there. They don't have to ask for permission from the HOA. They don't have to demand that the HOA try to take care of it, and which no one's gonna even know about the HOA, because it's a very low maintenance item. So the homeowners aren't gonna be knowing what they're even talking about.
Unless water starts backing up
Right,
into them.
right.
And then
But I
they
mean-
care.
Right, and so I guess what I'm saying is I think being a low maintenance item,
But
I'm
if-
sure if we asked the road agent, he'd wanna be able to have that,
Oh, yes. Question I
responsibility.
got you, is that a closed drainage system on that? Okay, that answers my question right
Yes.
there.
Yes.
Yep.
Throughout the subdivision?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay,
It's a
that makes
closed
a big-
drainage
a
The way
big
system
that's
and then-
angled and everything, though, that's a kind of a drop back there, too. It wouldn't be going into the subdivision, it would be going into the wetlands. Is that correct?
No, it's going into the detention area.
Right, but if it was a clog and it started to not function,
Yeah,
it wouldn't be
water's not
going
gonna
into
go
the
uphill.
subdivision, it would be going into the wetlands.
Correct.
Mhm.
That's
Right
where the
there.
overflow goes, from the system.
If it
If
was
it-
clogged and it
yeah.
wasn't stopped.
And we have designed areas like spillways, so it's like, if there is an overflow, it doesn't like break through the side of the dam or something. It has a designated area to go.
Percolated off to the side.
So that's really what we're,
So
what
I
we're saying.
think, Joan, tell me if I'm wrong, I think that this discussion right now is primarily a planning board thing?
Probably, yeah.
Um,
We're planning to-
But there's nothing to say that if we have a general opinion on it, that we can't provide correspondence to the planning board
Right.
on that. I mean, I personally don't have a feeling either way. I don't
Do you like
mind
the-
your idea of
Cutting off lot 17.
creating another lot, but that's in the planning board's domain, in my opinion.
We could ask the question to the planning board, take a look at
I
it.
don't think it affects the
I don't think it's necessary.
proposal that they're trying to present to us
No.
tonight.
So our access, if we're gonna be responsible for it, and we had to send the road agent in, where would his access point be? Between those two lots?
No, right, the blue. on
It's
the
20
blue.
feet
Right
wide
away.
on center, so the deed gives you the easement and it gives you the right of access.
The whole blue area,
Right.
okay.
And you would go right up the property line, so it's like the best place to have the least amount of impact to either, existing homeowner that's there, because it's centered on the property line.
But you wouldn't put like an access road in between it?
No,
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 no.
just,
And since it's not in the open space, conservation doesn't have to deal with it.
Right.
It's the town that would deal
This is a deed not to Concom, it's a deed to the town.
with it,
Right.
right, for that.
Okay.
the town can't accept, the selectmen can't accept anything.
It's not a road, it's just an easement.
Oh, the easement, I'm talking about the easement now, okay.
The other thing to consider is that this is a closed pipe system going all the way into the detention basin. It's not a swale from the road down. That tells me a lot right there. You can do a lot more.
That's a good thing.
That's good. That's good.
All right, cool, proceed.
Okay. To Concom is a deed of the 2 open space lots with restrictive covenants similar to what I think I got this sample from you guys anyways, the deed. So it's basically, you would own the 2 green areas.
Three green
So
areas?
before we move on,
Two.
can I
Two.
just ask a
It's the
question
green
about the
area
other
up here.
swale?
Open.
So
That's
the
one.
drainage,
And that's the other.
Oh, okay,
This
so
one
this
can
is
be-
all one.
before we move to the green, can
He
I,
has a question.
so in the upper corner, the front ones, is that to handle the flow from that, culvert that goes underneath?
Yes, correct. Yeah, there's an outfall culvert that goes in between those 2 existing homes up there, that comes under Pearson. And so, obviously we recognize that there could be during big storms, kind of a concentration flow, so we're just conveying that through, similar to what is already on the abutting properties, so
You're
it's just.
tying it into the pipe system to bring it down to detention.
Correct. Or tying it
Okay.
through,
Yeah,
rather.
you're tying it through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So are you gonna have a culvert underneath the road?
yes.
Okay, and that's gonna continue
Yep.
on, okay.
Yep. So we're collecting it on,
Pearson.
call it the backyards of those new lots, and then conveying it across the road via pipe.
Okay.
And then outfalling it right to that drainage so I mean, that finger of drainage,
Wait,
or
are you outfalling it
wetlands.
to a catch basin, or are you outfalling it to that wetland there?
No, we're collecting it with a basin and piping it to where that wetland is, because that's where it goes. I mean, that's why there's a wetland there, because of
That's where
that.
it goes when it's treated through woodlands, but now it's not treated through woodlands, it's piped right to the wetland with salt and heavy metals.
It's doing that now.
No, it's not, it's going
Pearson
through,
is.
it's through it,
No, but it's, what she's
It's
saying, there's
wooded
woodlands
now.
between
Yeah.
Pearson and where it enters into that,
it's not piped now, it's wooded, it's an
That was that
outfall.
so that looks
From
like a
Pearson.
pond,
Can you
that's a
Right.
pond.
go over what we're talking about width-wise, it's not gonna be treated? It's only the width of
If
the
you
road.
wanna just kinda,
Yeah, well, so I mean, you have,
20 feet.
I mean, the outfall of the untreated water, if you wanna call it that,
Right.
is coming out here.
Okay,
And it goes via open flow
Yep.
all the way to here, and we're just collecting it somewhere in this vicinity, and then piping it through, and then
Oh, you're not
and then
pi-
outfalling it.
you're not
and then it's
piping it
still-
till it gets to the road? So it's, it
No,
has
it's
to,
somewhere in here. But I mean, you know, I mean, it's traveling through this much land before it gets through.
Does
I mean, the reality is that it's not really, I guess, to be blunt about it, it's not really our problem that the town decided to discharge through this property so that we can't, you know, there would be, we don't wanna have these houses have a big wet area, you know, that gets very, very sloppy at certain times of the year. So we're collecting that, conveying it through, but still maintaining the drainage flow patterns, because you want that water to still be able to get to the wetlands and keep those wetlands wet. So, you know, we're still doing that. We're not intercepting that flow, we're just conveying it across.
okay. Just out of curiosity, is it closed, or are you gonna have an open, like, rip-rap trench and then,
So it is, so essentially in, towards the backyards of those units, we will be taking it in via you know, a grate that has like a beehive grate on it so that like if leaves don't get stuck or whatever. It'll go into that, into a closed pipe system, go under the road, and then discharge towards the backyards of the other homes that are on the other side, and it'll go sheet flow again for a distance, at least the whole buffer length of the wetland, at
So is
least.
that gonna have a header at the end of the culvert, I assume?
FES, like a flared end section.
Yeah,
Yep,
okay.
yep. So, I mean, it's getting piped, but it's really more about controlling that flow. I don't think it's, you know, that distance. You're still getting a benefit of the wooded area, you're still getting an area of the grass areas, and you're still getting a benefit of the point where it discharges all the way through the buffering of that wetland before it gets to the wetland. So, I mean, there's a fair amount, and I think a lot of the sediment issues that you might be concerned about are certainly gonna work their way out through the existing lots before they get out back, you know,
Yeah, well,
because that
in your
whole.
calculations, do you know how much flow is
I
coming out of that?
I don't have that
pipe?
with me, right now, but it was, you know, it's not a tremendous amount of flow until you get into some of the big storm events, but we sized everything to be able to handle, you know, a 50-year storm, you know, the Mother's Day floods happening, and, you know, that's why we like to pipe things, because we don't want things backing up, flooding up onto the edges of the road. If we can collect everything, size the pipes properly to bring it through, that, you know, that's kind of the best method. But for the most time, you know, these areas, they're gonna discharge, and a lot of that water's probably gonna dissipate into the ground if it's not a huge, heavy storm event. It's
Yeah,
really
it's
when
not-
everything gets saturated that you get the runoff.
cool, we good?
Well, one more question. What's this little triangle thing?
So that, I used the wrong color, I guess, because that's supposed to be a different color. It's supposed to be purple, not blue, but they both look the same color. That is just a portion of a driveway access easement. Has nothing to do with the town or the Conservation Commission.
So
It would be
nothing to do with drainage.
nothing to do with drainage. It's just, we wanted to be able to, we're actually avoiding any impact
The
of via
wetlands.
the driveway to the wetlands or the buffer.
Correct.
We're actually staying out of the buffer too, so,
You got an access easement going over that lot to get to the lot there.
correct. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, to get to the lot, that's.
Yep.
So if you take this out of lot 16, then we don't have to, and
17.
planning board is able to tell you that that works, and we don't have to deal with a person who owns lot 16 coming to us and saying, we own that land.
They own the land, but you will have the right to access it. and
Right, but it
use
becomes.
You meeting the town.
Easement.
Town, the town does, right?
Yeah, it becomes an issue, you know?
Yeah.
Then they're in front of us, then.
Yeah, I mean, we can certainly float that idea. If
I
they're
would
open
float
to
that
that, we're not
idea.
opposed
They're
to it.
willing to do it, I mean, I get where you're coming from. People always take ownership to something that shows on a deed that, even though there's an easement over it.
Yeah, it's mine.
I understand the concern. If there's a way that the planning board would allow that to go to the town, there's no other issues, I mean, I don't have an issue with it.
We are proposing, not that this is a fix of everything, but we are proposing to monument with iron rods the easement line through there. So there will be a physical marker to be like, no, this is where your rights end, because this is a drainage easement of which you do not have rights to alter. So we'd have the line will be delineated in the field.
So if we
Easement
can't
lines
do
will be
the
deleted.
specific,
Yeah.
okay,
Easement lines, okay.
the
I
granted,
would
okay.
prefer, even though it's not my call personally, that those be like granite,
Yeah, 'cause
Monuments
how you
instead
gonna
of
mow
iron
on an
pins?
iron pin?
yeah,
Can't find them.
crystal clear so that they, yeah.
Sometimes the granite ones are easier. I mean, at least in my experience, I've seen, because what they do is people just hit it with a hammer. It snaps off right below the surface.
Got it. I've seen it happen 100
A
times.
little harder to do that with the iron rod, but
Okay.
There's two sides to the argument. All the years that I've been doing this, okay, for land surveying, when I was doing everything, the granite bound is nice in the front because everybody likes to see it. But if you go on the side, they alter it a little bit over the years. The iron pipe is simple to find because the stone will not have a piece of steel in it. Okay, because we use metal detectors 99% of the time.
Yeah, I know, but
I'm from the old school.
Kevin's not using a metal detector to go out back there. He's gonna look at the two granite posts and drive.
I
it
got
around.
Adam. He can help me.
All right, green area, we good?
Wow.
Let's get to the green area.
I like,
Larry.
I like talking about green.
Green area.
Okay, green area. Green area is the open space. There are two of them, as you can see, and that's being conveyed to Concom. Okay?
That's the proposal, it's
That's
not
the
being
proposal,
conveyed.
that's the proposal.
So let me pause for a second, because I did talk, after the emails came in this week, I did have a brief conversation with the town administrator just to see how this stuff is handled. So for the green area, Joan, correct me, or Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong. We basically have three options related to the green area. Option number one would be the owner could deed the green area to us, and we would take ownership of it as the Conservation Commission, and that would become conservation land, I guess. That would be option number one. Option number two, which I've seen some other parts of town where there could be, the ownership could be retained by the developer or an HOA, and then there could be a conservation easement on top of that that would allow us to have access to that property. Option number three would be to do nothing, and that land would be owned by these folks, and they would probably have an HOA, and there'd be 1/27th of that piece of property would be owned by everybody, and it would not be accessible to the public. It wouldn't have any conservation stipulations behind it.
Well,
Correct?
if I could just add one point to that, everything you said is correct, but I think just for clarification, if option number two was chosen, which would be that, we have the collective homeowners have the ownership and there's a conservation easement over the land, that is an option. However, it was, expressed at the planning board level that they were looking for potential to have the public to be able to have access to this land.
Right.
If the homeowners are maintaining it, that's a liability, and that's not gonna happen. So if we go that option two route, then it would be, the benefit would only be for the homeowners that live there, because they can't expect, other people, maybe not even from town, going on the land. And, so that's just a clarification. So if the goal is to be able to have the public utilize the land, then the best avenue would be option one, is where we were coming from.
Okay.
I concur with that, because the other side of that, if you go with item two or item three, it's taxable. Okay, the homeowners associations are gonna have to pay taxes on it.
And I will say this,
No homeowners.
the options that I've stated as of right now, only one has been proposed based on the email that we got on Tuesday, so the other ones aren't, you know, we haven't received anything on those, so. Okay, so with that, one last thing that I wanted to mention for the crew here. I had a back and forth email with the town administrator. The typical process that it looks like the town would go through in regards to this type of activity is that, if we had interest in keeping these, or taking ownership of these properties, first thing would have to be that all of the deeds and all that type of stuff would have to be sent to the town attorney, for review. Concom would have to make a decision on acceptance or not. Based on that, there would have to be a planning board input to our decision as well. And then fourth, the Board of Selectmen are the folks that actually approve or deny that. So that's kind of the fourth step.
Wait a minute, the selectmen can't accept easements or land. It would have to be Conservation Commission accepting it.
Yep, it would have to be Conservation Commission accepting it.
They'd have
and
to
then
approve it, right? That we
They
accept
would
it?
approve it.
They would approve our acceptance. Okay.
The old days are gone.
If
Is that
it
the-
got deeded, the way that I understood it, if the land got deeded over to the town, then it requires a town meeting vote. But if it's deeded over to the Conservation Commission, it requires Board of Selectmen approval with the public hearing related to that.
I'm excited about this little piece of red here. I had asked for accessibility for people to drive down and use that, and that's what you gave me here?
Yes, and it'll work out well, so that if that ever continues, you'll have that area to.
So people are gonna be able to drive their cars down there and park, and the homeowners aren't gonna,
It's at the cul-de-sac, which is nice, so you have a lot more room down there for
Yeah.
that purpose.
Yeah.
Let me
Thank you.
interject there. We're talking about the 14.
Yep.
Lot 14.
So,
On the top of 18.
yep, time out here, let's reset. You had the floor, so go
I
ahead.
don't have that in, I have it's pedestrian. That's what it says, it's pedestrian
We're
access.
not gonna drive down there. It's
Not gonna
pedestrian.
drive
no,
down
I meant
Oh, no.
parking,
Sorry.
Yeah, we're just trying,
This is Reggie Morrow again, let me just.
not to drive down there.
What we were mentioning, Andy, is not driving down here, we were mentioning of parking here on the cul-de-sac where there'd be plenty of
Yeah,
room
yeah.
for them to access this
Yep.
right of way that, and then continue down
Sure.
that way. I apologize,
Okay.
just want to make that clear.
So talking about that, that's a 20-foot wide pedestrian access. The way I've drafted it, it's consistent with the Concon having the open space. It would be somewhat different if it was like a homeowner's or whatever. So basically, it runs with the land, and the public can access it, but the town of Litchfield is responsible for it. So it's saying one of the duties of the town of Litchfield is they have to police it once in a while, pick up
Right.
any debris, beer bottles, whatever. And if there's anybody gets injured on it, it's not gonna be Lot 14's problem, or there's no homeowners association, it will be Litchfield's
Like
problem.
our other conservation
Right.
land
Right.
is currently.
Right.
So you post it,
That
access
fits,
at your
that
own
fits
risk.
in.
Just like all of our conservation.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it'd be probably a sign, like, we'll say that.
Yeah.
Most towns do that.
I don't think we do,
so
but we should
what
probably.
was provided to us as part of that email, Joan, I don't know if you can summarize that, actually, hold
Yeah,
on,
it's right
thank you. There were 3 documents provided with it. Number 1 was a map that was sent out in the email. Number 2 is a proposed deed, warranty deed. Number 3 is the 20-foot wide pedestrian easement. And then number 4, this related more toward the
It
drainage.
doesn't really, it was with the packet, so it doesn't relate.
The one thing that I think is, I'm gonna mention it again, but,
Could do that.
just to make sure that we're clear, is that the blue area that you've got there, on your previous plans that were provided to us, that was, seemed like it was always part of the quote-unquote open space. Previously, the blue area was
Correct.
part of the open space. You, putting words in your mouth, it looks like that you purposely cut that, anything related to the stormwater asset back there was cut off, would not be part of the conservation land that you're proposing
Correct.
would be 100% on the drainage easement, which would be responsible to be maintained, by the town.
Correct.
In the future.
That is correct. Yep. And so, I mean, that was feedback that we received from this commission, and we just implemented that.
And there is, just to confirm yes or no answer, there is no,
Yeah, because that's a right-of-way, future right-of-way.
Okay, I'm sorry.
is there any stormwater infrastructure, because I don't see that, it's not a lot of detail on here, is there any stormwater infrastructure on the conservation
None.
piece that's proposed?
None. Nope. No, we made that line outside of all improvements. It's, that is raw land.
And as far as pulling trees from this area, you're not going to do that either.
From which area? I'm
The
sorry?
green, the
No,
green
that's
areas.
not- we have no intention of going here at all.
Okay.
No, because that's.
This is a basic subdivision with
I
open
agree.
space.
I probably should have thought of that. That's on me.
Oh,
Oh, I guess, we were just, sorry for the, we had an internal discussion, and it was in the discussions that we were having that kind of came to me. There's really nothing stopping us from making that orange piece part of the open space parcel physically. And so just, it would be, that green, that orange would become green, and that piece would physically be not part of that parcel. So from an access standpoint, even whether it's an HOA or you guys owning it, whoever owns it, it probably makes sense for that to just be
Yeah,
Inclusive.
inclusive. So we were just saying that we couldn't think of any reason, and it eliminates it eliminates an easement that you guys have to have. So it would just give us the, it would just, I think, make things cleaner. So
part
that
of
you're
the open
accepting
space.
you're accepting just the open space parcel,
and
and
then
then
it
it would be
would be
inclusive of
bound,
the access.
it would be bounded with granite markers or whatever.
Yes,
So that
correct.
homeowner would know that that's not part of his property.
Right, and instead of it being an easement, it now is not even their land. They don't own it.
Conservation.
Yeah.
It's conservation.
Conservation land.
That would be,
All right.
Signage would.
Yeah, I like that it's red here so that I could see that you
The poop sign, too.
responded to
Uh,
that, but yeah, green,
Could you tell us just a little bit about, well, let's see, visualize for us, at the end of the cul-de-sac here, you've got, it looks like a 50-foot right-of-way kind of going off there.
Correct.
Walk us through that right there, that's not gonna be paved, you're gonna have a closed cul-de-sac, and that will just be bounded on both sides and just be woods after that, I'm assuming.
Yep, correct. I mean, so the intent of that is that if there was ever a time where the abutting parcel to the
Landlocked
north,
process.
essentially, if they wanted to have, it's good planning to just have a potential connection. And I explained this to the planning board, that obviously, that doesn't mean that they're guaranteed, there's more houses coming or anything. We wanted to explain that to the abutters. It doesn't mean that this is gonna necessarily get bigger, because they would have to go through all the permitting process that we did to be able to provide that connection. But it is going to be withheld as a potential future right-of-way, so it's not owned by either of those homes at the end of the cul-de-sac. It would be, town land that is gonna just look like grass, woods, whatever. That a road could continue, so if the road ever does continue 15 years from now or something, then the open space access will be right on that right-of-way. If it doesn't, then people would just park at the cul-de-sac, walk up to the access way, and go in that way, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's nothing special, no improvements that you're gonna have to maintain as a commission, or the town would have to maintain. I mean, short of if you just wanted to make sure a path was still,
yeah, we're gonna have to get a
still
path.
like tamped down or
In
whatever.
between the end of that cul-de-sac and this red area, we're gonna have to get a path in between there, so that people can
There's-
actually get to it.
There's a lot of these in town, and whenever you put a road in or something, you're gonna landlock somebody, you gotta provide an access, that's why it's there. It's common, you have to do that, that's why we have to do it.
Doesn't mean it's gonna happen, but just for planning.
understand.
Yep.
We'll go around the horn here. I'll start, Kevin, with you. Any comments on this?
I have none, I think this is the correct way to go. I think it follows the rules, I like the idea of the large detention basin on the backside of the whole thing. That makes more sense. It's a closed loop system. There is gonna be a high hydrant system going all the way down through there as well. You're gonna be familiar with that. We have no choice. But I think it's the wise, to collect the drainage and put it in that and let it trickle off into the larger green area that's wet most of the time back there. I'm familiar with the land. You got the car track that goes through part of it. Okay? That's right there too. That's what that line is. And that little structure over in the corner they found. Okay? So this is common. Not an issue to me what I see here.
George, any comments at all?
I don't have a problem with the conservation. Are we gonna talk about the language of the actual deed?
Not this time.
Yeah, that was one of my comments. There were a couple things in the deed. Let's go around first.
Okay,
and then we'll
so,
talk-
yeah, but
talk
I don't
about
have
that.
I think it's a good idea that, the orange part is part of the green parcel. I think that's a great idea.
Fred, any?
No, I think it was a, good explanation of what's going on. I understand it a lot better now than I did. So, thanks, Doug.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, I still have a problem with the drainage here, and I understand the whole thing, how you're picking it up, and the reason I have a problem is, or a concern, about how much flow is coming out of the end of the pipe and hitting this, what your, wetland scientist called the red maple swamp. Red maple swamp can also be a vernal pool. He decided it wasn't a vernal pool, but I still have my doubts. So I like Luke Herron to take a look at that, how much flow is coming out of there, or you can get back to me with an email, how much flow is coming out of there into the wetland. And the other thing was.
What about the green?
The green, I have no problem with. I think that's a good idea. I think that we maintain with volunteers all of our other property. This one might be a little more of a challenge because it's, surrounded by
I'm not a
housing.
fan of that being landlocked.
Which one?
Which is
That-
why I
that
asked for
one.
the red.
It's not,
I don't know.
it's,
else
what do you mean
can do.
landlocked? It's got road frontage.
Yeah, it's got road frontage
Well,
and
I
we've
mean,
got
it's-
this little
it's
area
just-
back here.
Just,
It's a random piece of property sandwiched between two houses.
Not of much use.
Yeah.
But, well, it's a good wetland. Also, there's,
It also protects like the cutting aspect in that area so that we did it because when the road turns, you're gonna be looking at woods as you go down that, as opposed to, any type of development, so it just kind of preserves that in its natural state. That's why we,
and this area
Yeah.
is ringed with endangered species. The map that wasn't supposed to be in the AOT report, which I'm happy to see it, is ringed with endangered species. So I can't believe that they're not using this area. So that's another point. In your package, plan package, you need to have something, when they come across these species that are on that AOT report, they need to know what to do, the construction guys.
and we typically will add that. We haven't gotten that feedback from Fish and Game yet, but I'm sure we will. And whatever pieces we'll add to
Okay.
that.
But as far as the open
Correspondence with
space, I
us
think.
on that would be nice when you do get
The open
it.
space is a
You see the rest.
good idea that we maintain it.
Diane?
I like it. We wanna own it, I think. I don't think we wanna do anything else other than that. I appreciate the consideration of a way for, neighbors to be able to continue to use at least part of the woods back here that they've been used to using the whole time that land has been available. The only thing that have is that I would like to have that one split out if planning can do it, so that we aren't dealing with a homeowner that thinks they own that land. Behind 16, the blue strip, and so I'm talking
Well,
blue.
it's going down the lot line, and that's a pretty common way to do things.
Right, but if we could do what we had talked about, that would be great too. Yeah, so I'm
To
for
make
it.
the easement as part of the town land for the drainage
Well,
in there.
but this way, if it's part of the lot line, they'll keep it mowed and they'll keep it maintained. It's pretty common, if it's an easement on their property.
You know,
Harry.
We'll go over to Harry.
The only question I have is, I see the two buildings at the end over here in the, what are those two buildings? What are
Which-
what are they?
On 3A,
Yeah,
across
on
3A.
Oh, Those are houses.
Those are homes.
Those are
Yeah,
Houses on
existing.
3A.
Yeah, I mean, the land looks a little funky, I guess, but the way this normally, originally, this was two parcels with a line right up the middle, all the way, so essentially, you had, I'll just point, just so that we're all on the same page, but, right behind you here. So, this was a big bowling alley lot,
Yeah,
this was a lot, this is a lot, and this is a lot, so you were gonna have like 1, 2, 3, 4 homes on the, on the main road.
where specifically is that house? That,
It's
Right across.
It's across
It's
from the par
just,
three
just
on,
north of the church. Across from Passaconaway.
it's a yellowish greenhouse.
Across from the golf course.
Yeah, I'll
Just
show you.
north of the church.
The Mallory home.
north of the church?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So, Harry, just to give you like a little bit of point of reference here, sorry, my
So-
mouse isn't working that well.
How your fingers
Down
on?
on
So,
Mallory.
Harry, if you turn around, this lot is where the newer church is, right down the bottom. Sorry for that thing popping up. But basically, right across the street from Passaconaway, there are 2 homes. And we're,
That's the land.
right here, right in this area, and then right in this area. So, right across the street from Passaconaway.
And that's obviously easy access for you as commission to access the land too, the open space land.
And you're gonna issue waiters with that way, going in that way.
You might want to, yes, you might want to utilize those, depending on the
Matt?
time of year.
On the green?
I just had one question. So up on the easement from the cul-de-sac, would we be able to put in like a small parking area there? Would we have the
No,
ability to do that?
It's only 20 feet wide.
no,
I thought that was 50 feet.
no.
For that one.
The right of way is
Right of way.
50, but
You wouldn't wanna cut that to put a parking in it, I don't think. There's
Just a
plenty of
quick
room in the
comment. That's
cul-de-sac.
gonna be town land, so the town, whatever they choose to do with
Is there
it,
gonna be a curb there?
there'll be a berm. There'll be an asphalt.
Cape
berm.
Cod berm?
Cape
Or,
Cod.
Asphalt,
okay.
yeah, Cape Cod, yeah, Cape
Cape
Cod.
Cod berm to keep the drains that goes then.
So if the town decides that they wanna do something here for parking, for the, trying to get out there, that would be up to the town
You can
to
drive to the berm, no problem.
deal with.
it won't be owned by those homeowners. So if the town wants to do a widen, like nit pack, area or something, they could do that.
I ought to tell Johnny one.
I wasn't quite knowing what to expect. I guess I'm, happy that the blue part is not part of the green part, so that we wouldn't wanna have a drainage structure, I don't think, on our property. Just like a couple of concerns I would have would be making sure, we only got these like a couple of days ago, but just reading through the deed, I had a few comments on the deed, and I think that we would just need to make sure that we talk with the town administrator about, any liability, any of that type of stuff, to make sure that there are no red flags from our point of view. I did have a couple of comments on the deed, George. It sounds like you had a few as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think we could probably just, if this happened to move to the next level, I think there are a few things that I had some concern with. I'll let you kinda go first.
Right, well, so I'm looking at the, warranty deed for open space
Can I get
conservation
another
land.
copy of the deed?
Yeah, let's,
That's all right,
So-
I'll just grab another.
and hold on
I'm
a
pretty sure
second,
I had
George,
asked
let me
for them.
just call that up.
And something
Deed
like
for
this,
open space lots, is that the one?
deed for open space lots, yep. I was gonna put my comments right in the, Google Doc, we could have done,
Yeah.
but, so I made a copy.
Thanks so
We call you Mr. Michael Croto, he does that.
Okay.
Well, and obviously,
Mr.
Mr. Chair,
Microfoto was
if,
here.
if the commission was inclined to support the purchase option, that's, I mean, as I think you stated it.
Wait,
Not
A
purchase.
purchase.
Not purchase.
Gift.
Yeah.
Gifts.
Well, it's a very cheap gift
Okay.
or purchase for
Free.
0. But if they were to be owning it, this would go obviously to the town's legal counsel too. So they would make sure that if there's any legalese that would affect the town from a liability standpoint or something, they would review that, I assume.
Yeah.
Agree.
What do you have issues with though, that maybe
Okay,
you
well,
can
so
have
it's,
your,
like, use limitations to, E.
Yep.
No outdoor advertising structures
To
such as signs
E.
or billboards shall be displayed. You know, what is a kiosk?
No
Is a
outdoor
kiosk
advertising
a,
structures, billboards,
you know,
etc.
advertising structure? So, you know, can we build it? We would like to be able to put a kiosk on there, I would think, at some point, right?
You like the in front of the, like a hiking trail.
Yes.
Yeah,
Just like we
a
have
map
at Morse,
and
you
general
know, where we tell
information.
you pick up your dog poop, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
They're so effective.
And then on number 3, on reserved rights, it said something about maintain walking trails. So the grantor, which is, these guys, could reserve the right to maintain trails. Does that mean keep them there?
They'd have the right to maintain, but no obligation. They're already there.
Right, so the word maintain can be taken a couple different ways. So I didn't know if you guys are maintaining the trails or you're leaving the trails there.
Maintaining and they leave them there.
Okay,
Leave them there.
that's
But
fine.
that's it. They have no further obligation.
Once it's sold, they're done.
Okay, fine. And benefits, burdens, and access, B.
Yep.
It says that we can access it periodically, and for
Yeah, and that's
forestry
not
instructions,
this
right? But if we wanted to
purposes.
do trail maintenance, we might want to bring the four-wheeler in there. And it says that there's no, you know, we can't bring vehicular access. So we might want to have wording such that we can
Maintain it.
bring the four-wheeler in there to actually maintain it.
I think the word maintain will handle that better than anything
Well,
else and getting
well, it
into
says
the
forestry.
vehicle type.
Well, it says forestry management activities, right? And so
Yeah,
is a
that's what
trail, I'm just trying
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Understand what they
make sure that
intend.
if we do get this
Yeah.
given to us,
Or
that
if we
can
need to
actually-
cut down
maintain
trees
it.
and stuff like that.
Right, so it's just the forestry stuff. So, I mean, this really isn't the forum to do it, but I have, you know.
He's
before we-
here. It's a good time
before
to
we-
ask the question because he's
Yeah,
making notes on the
Reggie, that's
kiosk
good. We'll just put, or more times as needed for maintenance.
That's, yeah.
as many
So it's
times as
not
needed
Right.
for
set
maintenance.
But,
Right,
so
as many times as needed for maintenance.
maybe, you know, you mentioned the access to maintain walking trails. The grantor might do that, but there's nothing that says the grantee can do that. So, and we are the grantee, so the same rights that the grantor should have, the grantee should also have those rights to maintain those trails,
Sure.
right? And that's much different than forestry. So that's just my part.
Agreed, good catch.
And,
You want the right to create a walking trail.
yes, right, since it's for our use. And this is just a nit, but, it's always grantor and grantee everywhere, except you now are spelling out the Litchfield Conservation Commission in the rest of the document going down. So, that might be,
What's your
Pick one.
preference?
no, you know, if,
I'm with you.
Okay.
I write contracts all the time for work. Yeah.
because you spell us out as,
Yeah.
as the grantee up above.
Yeah, I'm just asking, what's your preference?
Oh,
You're familiar with that one?
as long as grantee is spelled out above in the first paragraph, just carry grantee all the way.
Okay.
That, in case it changes, right?
No
Yeah.
problem.
That's,
I
that's all
had an issue / a question with item 5C.
Me too.
I was just looking at that.
Yeah, it says, members, it's just an odd statement. Members of the general public who are not owners or occupants of the 28 lots, as shown in the plan, shall not have access to the property for any purpose unless the Litchfield Conservation Commission, unless allowed by the Litchfield Conservation Commission, subject to the
I had
restrictions
that
of the
one
deed.
also.
It's unneeded,
I get it, I get what it says.
but it's unneeded.
It's confusing to me.
How about
So the
this?
owners,
How
the
about
owners
this?
of the
Let's break it
28,
down. One, the owners of the 28 lots, they have access.
Yep,
Two, other members of the general public will have
Have
access as allowed by.
Access points
Yeah.
for the general public.
because the 28 people become part of the population in the town and
Yeah,
we're
right.
all,
It's kind of automatic.
yeah.
Oh, only the difference, it's up to you, but the only difference is, they have a carte blanche. They don't need any permission from Conservation Commission.
That's correct.
Okay, the public, you may wanna put some age restrictions, or, I don't know.
Only to the Litchfield residents.
Yeah, something like that.
Signs to say you can't poop back here?
Yeah.
So I suggest, well, for the subdivision lot owners, they can have access, they don't need your permission. Anybody else needs your permission. And then you can put conditions on that permission.
Yep.
all right.
Once we get it. it's
I might
ours.
have some comment, we'll see how, if this moves forward, we'll see what the, town attorney says about that. I think it's a little bit confusing, just due to the fact it's like, we own the property, but by deed, these 28 folks can get to it, but we have to give special permission.
Right.
for
We
the
really
rest of the
don't.
town.
They
It just
become
seems
part of
like
the
a little
public.
bit-
Should
You
be
really don't have to give them
synonymous.
special permission.
That's
They're
what-
part of
that
the
was the
town.
one I had.
They have
Yeah,
a right to walk
Well,
onto
they
that no
become-
matter
We'll
what.
take that out then.
But they're given.
Okay, thank you. Here you go, go on,
Get out.
go on. It's gonna be
Yeah.
fine.
They're not gonna, anybody.
C is gone.
Fit part of the public.
Go on.
Okay.
And D, and I'm just bringing this up right now because this is, I only skimmed through it a couple of days ago, but owners or occupants of the 28 lots on Talarico Street shall have access to the property, perfectly fine, consistent with the limitation and purposes of these, with the limitations and purposes of these restrictions.
So get rid of that too.
These restrictions, but if you go up to section 5, it says benefits, burdens, and access.
Yep.
It doesn't say restrictions. What restrictions would you be pointing to?
Pointing to F, use limitations on 2.
Oh, mining, quarry, excavation.
Oh.
Okay. Maybe we can,
You can't cut the
maybe
trees
need a
for wood.
little tweaking on that
Geiger
one.
counters,
Hey,
If you cut just the dead trees, can we do that?
No.
metal detectors.
There's too much gunshot up there, I can almost guarantee it.
Let's take out the word restrictions and put, with the use limitations and purpose, so that's, we can't do something that,
My only
consistent.
concern with just some of these things in here, it's like, or this would be for the board, you know, and Joe, and I don't know how these have been written before, where my neighborhood, which is like Sawmill, Brenton Burgess, if I remember correctly, and Reggie, I think you did this neighborhood back in the day. There's a lot of town pieces of property that were deeded over that are follow the brook and so on and so forth. I haven't looked at, you know, how the deeding was on that, but it's just a little strange to me with C and D of how we would be giving the 20 folks that live in the 28 houses precedence over
Yeah,
the
I think
people.
I
in
wouldn't
the
do
town.
that.
They
We're gonna
should-
take
Yeah,
that
I
out.
wouldn't do
I
that.
don't
We'll
think
just get rid of
that's
both of
necessary.
them.
It's not necessary.
Yeah, Litchfield residents,
Yeah.
agreed,
That's not
because they're gonna
necessary at all.
become Litchfield residents and part of our population,
Basically, I'm just gonna say, you can do what you want to allow the town
and they'll be
residents in,
part of that. town.
subject to whatever conditions
I
you may
want
have.
that, if we're being deeded, my opinion,
I
if
agree.
we're being deeded the property, like, say, we have at Morris Falls, sometimes we have to come up with rules on the fly because
Right.
certain things are going on with that. We
Because
wanna
the
be able
deeds
to come
weren't-
up with those rules, and that applies to everybody. I don't want someone going to a deed saying, oh, no, this says I can hunt back there, maybe at some point in time, there's no hunting, it just causes mass confusion.
These owners aren't getting
Dogs
any
living together.
more special
We don't want
permits
them to
Right.
have
on
special
anybody
treatment.
else in town.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, yep, that's all.
we'll put that in
Yep,
there.
that's all, that's great.
And that's, and those rules would be something you put on your kiosk too.
Oh, they are.
Oh, we have.
Yeah, that's why we want a
We have a
kiosk.
big,
Right.
Matt, anything? Bruno?
Nothing else, no.
Let's talk about process, and then I think we can maybe nip this in the bud.
Gentlemen,
How
go
do
home.
we tackle this, Joan? Like,
so,
do we
we need
make,
a revision, we need a revision on that, what we
Yeah,
just said. with
I'll
the-
send that up tomorrow.
Okay, and then
Jason.
send it to town administrator, and she can send it off to town council.
okay, and then that would bounce back to us, and then we can
Right,
take a vote on it?
right.
I would like to see a vote tonight with that, with those exceptions put in. Because we need to go in front of the planning board at our next meeting, because we're gonna be looking for final approval, and I don't want this to hold that up.
I don't have a problem with that.
And I think to be more elaborate, all we're asking for is that we would look for the commission to say, we are in agreement that we will take ownership of the land, subject to finalizing the
Yeah, 'cause
restrictions
Town
and
council's
deeds
still gonna
and,
have to tweak it.
and
too.
having town council review it, because the planning board has asked us a couple different times, what is our intention of the open space? So we wanna be able to give them a definitive, the intention is that the Conservation Commission is going to take ownership, and they have already agreed to do so, subject to, you know, so we're not saying that that can't be worked out, and that any language is gonna have to get your official sign off, but we're just looking for the clarification of how we're moving forward.
I don't disagree with that. Personally, I just want to make sure that if the board feels that that is, oh, here we go.
Here she
If-
comes.
If the board feels that that is the direction we want to go in, Mr. Lynch?
I believe that is the direction that we should go in to simplify.
Hold on, time out. If the board feels, if the board wants to entertain a motion for that,
Yeah.
my personal opinion is, I think that we just need to make sure of a couple of different things and include that in the motion. Not only the warranty deed
I
thing,
understand what you're saying.
but I think that we also need to just make sure that there's nothing else that we're not looking at, that we don't see right now, that could come up over the next few weeks. Something related to a liability issue, something related to a maintenance issue, something like that.
That would
And
be within the deed though, right?
not necessarily. There could, I mean, we just received this a couple of days ago, so. And I know I've read through the deed quickly, George read through the deed quickly. We've been presented with a lot of information here. I just wanna make sure that we're covered a few different ways, not just with the wording of the deed, just in case something else pops up. Town administrators here, would you like to, say anything?
Kim Kleiner, town administrator. I would ask that the board not, that Concom does not do that this evening. So this information was just given to me a couple days ago. Town council has not reviewed it. There is a, RSA out there, 4111A. The Board of Selectmen cannot acquire land unless they have adopted that RSA, which Litchfield has not done.
I thought when I saw your letter come back to us, I thought that was if the selectmen were gonna try to take it in for the town, but the Conservation Commission was completely different. This is not a going to the town under ownership, by the selectmen, but by town vote. It's gonna go in through,
It's the same.
I
No,
thought
it's
it was
not the
different.
same, it's not the same.
It's not the
You
same.
have RSA 36A.
So,
Right.
yeah. So conservation will take it under 36.
Mhm.
Okay. But there's been several statements here tonight that this would be deeded to the town.
Well, no, that's an incorrect statement. It will be deeded to the Conservation Commission.
Which is what it says here on the deed.
But. so
Litchfield
you're only
Conservation
asking them
Commission.
To give comment on that one, not.
There's drainage easements being deeded to the town, but not fee
It's
simple.
It's only on all we're dealing with here tonight is just the conservation land.
Just that.
Not the blue,
Not the
Kim.
blue.
Not the drainage
And that would be an
ditch.
easement, not a fee.
Time out. Town Administrator Kleiner, I don't know if you saw the meeting from the beginning.
Yeah, I've been watching.
Okay. So as you probably heard, all the stuff related to the drainage is out, would not be part of any conservation.
Correct, I heard that.
Okay, cool.
Yes. I mean, I think the best, considering that this was 2 days ago, I think the best route to take is to give town council time to review it and come back with suggestions on, I mean, that's what we
That-
hire them to do.
That process is normally done subject to. We do it all the time with everything else that we give, whether it's condo docs or anything else. Those approvals are always subject to their review. And that's how we always do it. It's never held up at this level. It's always the understanding that if there's something there that's wrong in the deed or any other document that's a legal document, that can be addressed at that point in time.
Subject to
But
their
it's not-
review
it's
and
always subject
acceptance.
to.
Correct, that's the final say, that's what I prefer would do.
Correct.
But town council is the key point here.
Yep.
So whatever we say or do tonight, it's still gotta go through them no matter what.
No matter what.
So anytime conservation goes to purchase land now, or is gifted land, it would have to go through our town council now, where it hasn't in the past?
No, it has.
I would think
It has in the past.
It always
It
has?
always
It always has.
Any changes to land?
Yeah.
Conservation,
Any changes?
okay,
Any changes?
Anything goes before them.
okay. So then that
In this
would
case,
be
it's
following
an-
normal
it's an active
policy.
site plan, I mean, I agree that it should go through plan as well.
So, could you restate your recommendation?
I just don't think that it requires, any type of vote tonight. I think that this information came in a few days ago. And it's normal and customary to have time to review it, to send it to council. I mean, I think there needs to be some discussion on an active site plan with, planning board.
We've been to like 4 meetings.
Well, I know you have, but this particular,
Well,
they are not aware of these
We have the other
particular.
choice. We can just keep it as an HOA and we don't have to deal with this. It's done. So we have the other choice.
We're just asking for some time.
We've given the town enough time.
Ca-
Okay? We've given the town enough time to review this, to go through and do all of this work. Every time I've ever sat in front of a board, okay, it's always, these types of things are always done subject to. They're not delay tactics, which is what I'm seeing here. This is just, it's always done subject to. And it's a normal process. They get the chance to review everything. If there's something that's not right, they work between the attorneys and the different boards, and they massage it. But what we're asking right now is an acceptance, not on the final detail, but on what we're discussing here, okay? Whether this group, the Conservation Commission, wants to take ownership of that or not. It's real simple. It's not any more complicated than that.
The board, when we went to the planning board last, we were given instruction, they purposely bumped us out long enough so that we could come to, you guys weren't meeting at your regularly scheduled meeting and you have this one. So they bumped us out further so that we could come to you to see if your intention was aligned with what we were suggesting. Because we said we could do this or this. What do you want, planning board? And they said, well, you should really find out what the Conservation Commission wants. So what we're here for tonight isn't to have you put a stamp of, we accept all of it, and we're just saying, we need to be able to report back to the planning board that we met with the Conservation Commission and their intention is to accept the land in ownership. So that, and subject to town council sign off, subject to the attorney reviewing it, you guys finalizing your review. So it's not that we're asking for a approval of as presented. We're just saying that we have to be able to go back to the planning board because there's nothing left for us to talk about at the planning board. They've reviewed everything. The peer reviews have been completed. And so they're gonna say the only outstanding item is what's happening with the open space. So we're gonna say, well, what's happening is the Conservation Commission is gonna take ownership of it, subject to review of that, blah, blah, blah. So that's what we're looking to do.
So,
Chairman, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Ms. Kleiner, is there a motion that we could present where we could say that we wanted to accept this land? That would be acceptable to you? Could it be that we wanted to accept this land subject to review of the council? Would that be acceptable to you? We'd like to make everybody happy here. And we want the land. I believe that we all went around the table.
Yep.
And just, can I just see that we've all expressed an interest in having this land? Would it be possible to make that motion?
It's up to you, it's up to the.
Mr. Chair, may I make that motion?
Listen, this is a board. Anybody can make a motion at any given point in time. Yeah.
but I think what,
I am,
I think what Diana's saying is that's the core simple question. Do you guys want the land? If you do, everything else can get worked out. If you don't, then you don't. I mean, it doesn't have to wait another day for that or another week, whatever. It's the concept is up before you right now. Do you want the land? And we'll work out the details to make the language happy for you.
In respect to your position, I do want to make sure that that is comfortable for you. If we make a motion to say subject to attorney review and that the Conservation Commission wants this land. Are you comfortable with that?
Yes.
Thank you.
That's
I'd
what
like
I
to
was
make a
gonna suggest
motion
right now.
then.
hold on
This
just
is
a
not-
second. I just wanted to hear from
Oh.
Ken.
This is not uncommon what is being done, okay? Anybody that comes to any board or group is subject to review of town council to make sure, because we have to accept the land.
Okay, that I agree
Okay.
with, but I don't want to
And
hold
that,
this
you
up.
did the right thing. What I'm seeing here, I think we answered a lot of the questions, the wording. Your profession does this to you, and I understand why, okay? I see where you're coming from. But in all we're trying to do, accept the green, 2 green parcels, the drainage has been taken care of, the access has been, gonna be put
Out of
onto it.
green.
Okay, the 2 drainage easements coming down have all been discussed as part of the road project. That's another acceptance of that at a later date. But just now, to accept the land, the conservation is willing to accept the land. That's what I'm gonna say as a motion, subject to town council's review, the paperwork and everything else. That's how I feel about it.
I agree with you, Kevin. I'm just listening to what
I understand.
Administrator Kleiner.
I understand what you're saying too.
And if someone entertains a motion, I would just want to make sure that we have everything covered, because we just got this a few days ago. And I just want to make sure that we're not missing something.
Kim's right, town council. I know where Kim is
Town
coming
council
from.
might not.
Okay.
We might need to get input from just the planning board on this. You might need to get
I was
input
gonna
from,
say
I
that
don't
too,
know,
yeah, I
anybody
was gonna
else
say that.
to make sure there are no liability issues, things like that. Maybe town council covers all of that
It
stuff.
does 99% of the time that I know of, because it's all what you're trying to do here.
I can also, Mr. Chair, just add that I've had this conversation about this open space with the planning board several times. And really, when push came to shove, the direction we were given is to come meet with you and, as a board, and determine
If we want it.
if you want it. Because they were not going to make that decision, and they expressed no concerns as to how it was done. They just said,
Do it.
tell us, tell us how it is. So there was no concerns raised.
I did come down that night. I was snow blowing my driveway during that meeting and came running down, making sure, because I didn't want, as the conservation chair, the planning board providing, making a decision essentially for us, so.
Which they
You did the
didn't
right
do,
thing.
Yeah.
which they
Good
didn't
Well, I
do.
ran over my snow with my truck and now I got the ruts down the
I
driveway.
remember you saying that.
You probably still have those 2 frozen ruts right up the driveway, right?
Ms. Kleiner, anything else to add on this? I
No,
really just want to make sure we understand the concerns 100%.
Well, I think in all fairness to town council, it has been a couple days,
Yeah, agree.
and so
Lots
I
of
would
issues out there.
respectfully ask the time for them to review.
Yeah.
You have time
Subject to.
between now and the planning board meeting, if there's something that changes, you're welcome to bring it forth in the planning board meeting, but your documents will be, it's, like I said, all we're asking simply tonight is whether or not this board wants to accept this land, that's it. If they don't make that decision tonight, then we'll go back to the planning board, and we'll turn this into an HOA, and we'll move forward with that, and the land will belong to the owners. That's the choice we have.
I'd rather we own it. That's my opinion, right off the bat.
So just go around the horn before a motion is made. Kevin, anything else?
I suggest that we go through to own this. I hear that I would make a recommendation or a proposal tonight to say the town, the Conservation Commission is wants to own said land in question of this development. Subject to review, of course, of town council, which is common practice in everything we do.
The motion and discussion, I think.
Anybody else have anything? Well, I'll just throw it out to the board. If anybody wants to make a motion on this or not make a motion.
I make a motion? Go ahead.
I would like to make a motion
Thank you, Diane.
that the Conservation Commission accepts this land into the Conservation Commission, subject to approval by the town council and input from the planning board.
Yep.
Do we have any discussion on that? You second? That seconds.
Alright,
Do we have any
so-
other discussion on that motion? Anything else to add?
That's my job.
Well, I'm trying to keep. He's gonna put me in handcuffs
And with the revisions that Attorney Sullivan is going to put in.
and the, yep, add that to the motion.
In anything the town council wants to.
Yep, we got that. Yep.
Yep.
Revisions to the deed, so we'll revise that too.
I would like just to make sure that we're crystal clear here, because a couple things got added in. Would you rescind your second for a second?
And let us just fix the motion.
Absolutely.
Please, could you restate your motion?
Yes, I would like to make a motion that we accept this green area presented to us tonight as conservation land from the Reggie Morrow Group,
And the red strip.
and the red strip to be added into it as well, subject to the approval of our town council and any input from the planning board that needs to be made to this.
And,
And revisions made to the deed that were discussed this evening, changing all members of the 28 lots to simply just being residents and not part of.
Can you call it map 18, lot 64, please?
Map 18, lot 64.
And,
And this other small piece on the,
yes, was there a mapping lot on a small piece? that's
64,
second?
and this doesn't have a number on it.
No,
It does. Yeah. Not on this sheet, it doesn't.
no, we noticed that.
21?
If I may, for clarification, it's obvious.
hold on. We're in the middle of a motion, just want to make sure.
$29.
Map 18, lot 64 and 29.
That's a blue.
So 18.64 and 18.29?
Nine's over
Correct.
here, okay.
Not the blue.
Accepted as conservation
Small.
land.
All right, we have a motion on the floor.
Double check.
Matt?
Do we
I
have a
second.
second?
I second.
Okay, so we have a motion
62.
by Diane, a seconded by,
62.
Matt?
29 and 62.
It says 64.
Oh, it says 64 on here. I'm thinking 64 is correct.
The open space lot is 62. The reason it says 62.
Map 18, lot
The reason it
64.
says this on, because this is an overview sheet and
You never
62,
changed
you're
it.
right,
the
62.
parent lot is, I think, was 64.
Eric, hold on.
62.
So,
According to
but
the
we
map.
kept, we consolidated 64 into 62. So the open space lot is 62.
okay, time out just a second.
I get it.
Start again. I'm gonna redo this. Okay? Matt, I hope you're getting all this at home.
Matt, could you rescind your second?
Sure.
Their turn to
Go
Charlie.
ahead, Diane.
I would like to make a motion that the Conservation Commission receives map 18 lot 62 and map 18 lots 29 into conservation land, based on approval by our town attorney and any input from the planning board, as well as corrections made to the deed that we have discussed here tonight regarding the 28 lot residents, future residents, changes, and any other changes made by the town attorney.
All right. we
Any
have a-
discussion?
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded, we've got a motion by Diane, and seconded by Matt. Any final discussion? I'm gonna just kinda go around counterclockwise. Kevin?
I'm good with it.
Good.
Right, Fred, you're a voting member. Harry, anything?
What about the, strip?
They-
Oh, and that should be
That's
part of it
included.
as well.
She put that in as part of the discussion.
Not
Yeah,
the
that's
second
becoming
time.
part of lot
That's becoming part of
62.
the lot.
That's gonna become part of lot 62. It's covered, it should be covered under that. Right, Reggie?
I'm not sure.
Yes, it is.
Motion
Yes.
didn't have it in, I can't say anything.
He had,
You want me to
the
restate?
surveyor had mentioned he's gonna put a line there and make that part of that lot. Correct.
That is not part of the motion.
Right.
Okay, let's bring it back
Start
to the
again.
board, folks.
Rescind.
I rescind.
Who's taking the notes
good at
tonight?
Poor Matt is at home taking the notes.
All right, folks.
One more time
Nope, I think we're good. Are we
Okay.
good with the
We're
motion?
good.
with the motion? Okay.
All right, any final discussion from anybody?
No.
I think,
Turn this over. But we have a motion on the
well,
floor.
we got a motion on the floor here. We've gotta keep it with the board.
Might need a condition.
Call it for a vote.
The condition is just, if you wanna clarify it, just that strip goes with the open space,
Yeah,
and that covers
we-
it.
we did that.
I think we have that.
Okay.
It's gonna go with the open space, yeah.
Okay. I guess just my comment is that we just need to, it sounds like the motion covers us from what Ms. Kleiner is talking about here. I will say that, in general, I think that this is a good idea. I wish we had just like a little bit more time to kind of digest this stuff. Just so that, because this is the first time we actually saw this map tonight with the green. This is the first time I really realized that the drainage area got cut out. I
Which
wish
was
I
a
had
good
a
thing.
little bit, even though you guys had a lot of time in between the planning board meeting and this meeting, I wish you just had like a little more time to digest this a little bit, but I think there's been some good discussion.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna do, we're good to vote? All right, so we'll do a roll call vote on this one. Mr. Lynch?
Aye.
Mr. French?
Vote yes.
Ms. McGibbon?
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Mazekia?
No.
Yes,
And I'm a yes as well. All right, so motion passes
Does he wanna dis-
6-1-0. Yeah.
Fine.
What we'll end up doing is we'll end up sending a letter to the planning board, just stating that we have interest in accepting this piece of property. From here on, it looks like that we are going to send this information to the town attorney to make sure that everything is covered on our end.
Well, as soon as we get the new rework.
Yeah.
the deed, you'll get that, you said tomorrow,
Um,
to Ms. Kleiner.
I'm assuming that if there are issues with the deed, we'll bring those up at the next meeting, but I think the vote from the board tonight is that the intention is that it sounds like the board's in favor of accepting the property.
If you need us to come back to go over anything, let us know, and we'd be more than happy to come back and.
Great.
I know where you live.
Thank you very
All right,
much,
that's
guys.
that.
Thank you.
You wanna stay for the AOT discussion? You wanna stay for the AOT discussion?
Oh, is that a discussion that's happening?
Discussion.
What's an AOT?
I can
Operation of
stay,
terrain.
yeah, sure.
You look tired
Operation of
now, though.
terrain.
I love doing that.
I'm feeling tired, yeah.
So we're only an hour and a half in.
I
Item 2
know,
on the
right?
agenda.
Oh my
Those would be
God.
really
How
fast.
many
We
seconds have you
want the
done?
land, yes. We want it. Everybody but Harry wants the land.
Mr. Lynch is gonna take a break here for a minute.
We don't need to take a break, we need to keep on moving.
They'll give me a recommendation and I'll schedule a selectment.
Thank you for coming in, thanks. Kim, thank you for coming in, thanks for keeping an eye on it.
Thank you.
Okay, move right
All
on.
right, next item on the agenda is Talarico Street alteration of terrain permit. Joan?
Okay, I got, this sent to the municipal clerk, came over to me, the, information from the Alteration of Terrain Bureau. They said they accepted the application on January 29th. We got this letter Monday, and they wanted input by today. So I called them because that wasn't gonna happen. And, they said that their deadline for the DES's deadline is March 19th for the AOT, but they may have it beforehand. I said we would send comments if we had any to them. I told them specifically I'm still looking for comments from Fish and Game. And, at the state, everybody is like out straight, so.
We did get some initial comments I can forward along to you.
Yeah, please do.
Because,
From Fish and Game or from,
from Fish and Game.
okay.
Yeah, because we had reached out to them originally, and let them know that our intention was to be filing an alteration of terrain and a wetland permit as well. So, they were very, basic comments, but we responded back and we hadn't heard a response from that yet. So we basically said, do you have any further comment? But, so I can follow up and I can also share that with you.
Okay, that would be good. I still wanted to hear from them about if they like the culverts, we haven't heard anything.
Right, we had a lot of questions on those when you came in last time about the type of culverts. Joan had one preference and you were,
Well, turns out Kevin Brown, the road agent, likes the closed versus
the ones that you
bottom,
already
but,
have planned, the closed.
So I said I would send them any comments that we had from,
So I have a question.
Sure.
Have any of you guys read the alteration of terrain permit? It's not online, right?
We haven't received it, comments yet.
Right. No, I
Your
know.
I haven't
Your-
read the
your
permit though.
submission.
No, it's a good question, I
Okay,
have
well,
not.
so, I didn't even know what it was, so I went and read it today. So, I mean, there's a lot of detail in there, and most of it was, most of it, or like, over a third of it is all of your calculations for the infiltration pond, right? I mean, there's a lot of data in there about water flow rates and stuff like that. A lot of it's boilerplate, stuff that you just have to put in, but there wasn't too much in there that I could, really make a comment on one way or the other. So like you said, there was the notification of where, endangered species have been found, all around the, area. So, they found a number of different, like, turtles and stuff in the, our area, in the Sawmill Brook area. But, so, there's not a lot there.
And just to clarify, because maybe not all engineering firms do this the same way, any project that we work on at the Dubay Group that requires an alteration of terrain permit, we incorporate that into one document. So the document that the town has received is the same document that the alteration of terrain saw. So like the one that has been reviewed by the Regional Planning Commission and by Lou is the alteration of terrain package, because I mean, not everybody may do that. They may
No,
do
I
it as
get-
two
I get
separate
the-
documents.
I get the notebooks all
Yeah,
the
but
time.
I'm just saying, for us to sign off on it when
Oh,
we
we're
don't.
not gonna sign off
When we
on it.
don't even see it.
Gotcha.
It's
think
kind
it's-
of baffling to me.
It's over most of our heads as far as drainage calcs and all that. That's why we have Lou Karen to look at all that stuff.
Right, so
The
I,
town engineer does that for us.
so I just think it's weird that we are signing off on that.
No, we're not signing off on it. They're asking us for, if we
Our-
have any comment, they
Feedback.
wanted it by February 7th, and I got it like
Okay,
February
I'll
5th.
also say, just generally speaking, that may be more of a boilerplate item that alteration of terrain sends out, because I typically do not get any input from Conservation Commission on an alteration of terrain application. I would get it on a wetland application for
Yeah.
sure, and that's, you're actually a checkbox on that. This must be just a, hey, just so you know, they filed this, wanna make sure you also had a copy of it type of thing, because, I mean, typically, I've never, I can say this is literally the first time I've ever been asked about the Concom providing input or signing off or anything on alteration of terrain.
Did you hear anything from the Wetlands Bureau?
No, not yet, no.
To check the file. So
They
will
are
that
way
hold you up?
behind,
That
I
will hold you
understand
up.
up there.
So the alteration of terrain doesn't impact the drainage plans, right? I mean, it's still the same.
No, I mean,
Same
I
area,
mean,
right? It's still
alteration of
directing
terrain, their permit really is, at the end of the day, it's a land disturbance permit.
Yeah.
So if you're disturbing over 100,000 square feet, you're required to get an alteration of terrain permit. And that permit really is more, the Fish and Game have a factor in it, but it's not really an environmental permit. They're asked to weigh in on the project as a whole, but it's really a drainage related permit and treatment permit.
And erosion?
And erosion, yes. Because, I mean, really what they're gonna be looking at is the alteration of terrain has some additional provisions that in some cases, a lot of towns are adopting the same regulations, but they have things that are in some cases above and beyond. They want a certain, they have what they call a GRV, a groundwater recharge volume, and that is on every single site. They want to see a certain portion of water that's recharged, and a lot of towns don't have that requirement, so that's like an extra. They also want to see channel protection requirements in addition to peak runoff requirements, so they want to see the 10 and 50-year design storms see a reduction in rate, but they also want to be able to see a potential reduction in volume. And so that's really where the alteration of terrain permit focuses. And so, as I said, if we didn't have to meet those extra things, then my drainage report looks a little different, and we don't call it an alteration of terrain permit application and drainage analysis. I think it's like I do the and, because
Yeah,
it's
that's
both.
what it was, yeah.
So we do it that way if it's gonna require it, because I don't want like two documents that might not be updated the same way. You know, I want it to be one document. So that's how we've submitted it that way from the beginning. As I said, I mean, you guys can do whatever you want as a commission to provide input or your thoughts on any application. But I would say, just in my experience, I've never had comments from Conservation Commission on an alteration of terrain application.
That's all I had on it.
You
Just
good
wanted
with
to-
that,
Yeah,
Joan?
I'm fine.
Okay. We good, folks? Next item on the agenda, old business, Moore's Falls sidewalk. Joan,
So
I think
thank you
you're-
very much for coming, and I
No
think we're done.
more, no more agenda items for me?
I can make some more up.
Yeah.
No, you
You
can
gotta
go. You
take,
can
I
go.
gotta make a couple points.
Does this include him?
Just like
Well,
Help out with the design because he's a little faster than.
Okay,
Well, there may not be a design.
all right.
I talked to, finally, the land agent for fishing game.
Time out, Joan,
Oh,
just for a
oh,
second.
oh.
Time out, just to reset everybody. Moore's Falls side, we're talking about the Moore's Falls
Sidewalk.
Sidewalk.
being
Which-
paved or not paved.
which, from Corning Farms
Existing or
over
not existing.
to Moore's Falls parking lot, potentially being inside the fence
Outside.
versus outside the fence and along 3A. Go ahead,
Okay.
Joan.
You better
So,
sit right there.
Today, I talked to Betsy McNaught, land agent from Fish and Game. According to the document, declaration of conservation easement on that property, no paving would require changing the easement. It's not likely that you need act of Congress to change the easement. And she also said they wouldn't want to change an easement because then the rest of the state would be looking to change the easement to do pavement. So at best, it would take 2 years I don't even think that further down would take 2 years.
That's
Any-
disappointing.
Anything you want to do, we have to submit in writing, it needs to go before the lands team meeting, and then probable to the AG, Charitable Trust Division, make sure it doesn't mess with the trust.
That's because
Still a
it's-
lengthy process.
All right, so if we hard
Hold
pack
on a
it,
second, hold on.
You can't, according to the easement, you can't dig, dredge, or fill or anything. You can't pave, you could put down probably bark mulch and call it a path. Now, if you were on the other side of the fence, in the right-of-way, which I don't suggest, then you talk to DOT, you'd be in the right-of-way, but I don't think you want to be on the other side of the fence with,
No.
on 3A.
dangerous.
We used the stone dust.
And then what did you find out from a?
Could we use stone dust? Not even stone
No.
dust?
This
Back
situation you're going through, gentlemen, and ladies and gentlemen, is about a court case. Many years ago, when somebody did something on that land, illegally, the town got involved, and the.
State got involved.
And they got involved, the state got involved because somebody complained. The town, I believe, complained, okay? And this all went into the whole agreement, don't do anything there. The state's all for it.
Fish and Game
This
has
is-
an easement, conservation.
Yes, but they did it at the time and nothing else was going on. Things are changing. We may be able to get some changes here, but it has to go through a deed change, which is not gonna be that much a problem.
She said it would take at minimum 2 years.
That's fine, but at least it's 2 years.
You go right.
Right now, we haven't done we've done things up there we're not supposed to be doing.
And like, it's like,
We did put a parking lot in.
that was allowed, it's not, and they wouldn't let us pave the parking lot. What did you find out about New England, National Grid?
Yep, National Grid stated, I did get an email from National Grid today, actually, after emailing them back a few times. He said that National Grid maintains an internal review process, and it can be started by returning an attached form, so he provided a form on the email. And it sounds like if we would go in this direction, we need to basically fill out this form and send it into them for official review. He said in here, I'll just read it verbatim, in a perfect world, the plan that we propose would call out not only location of the sidewalk, I'm paraphrasing now, but also the elevation as well, because it passes underneath the power lines, and they probably just need to make sure
Great
that there's enough clearances between the power lines. And then he goes on to mention that I will help you facilitate this process if you move forward. So there's really nothing in here that says yay or nay, but it sounds like, I don't think there, from what I'm reading right here, is that that's probably not gonna be a big issue with.
She said she
National
couldn't
Grid.
just approve it, the land agent just approve it, would have to, the whole proposal would have to go to them in writing. And, then go before those.
All right, not to belabor the point, but hold on just a second. I have got the deed.
I've got it right here.
Oh, you do?
It's a shared.
What does it
we have a-
physically
They have an
say?
easement. that
Okay, it
has-
says,
Is that what it is? We have to
throughout
have
the
an
whole
easement with the
thing,
deed?
it says,
Who owns it, Jason? Who owns the land in there?
Okay.
we do,
We own the land, there are two
But it's got this
easements
big
on top
easement
of
on
it. Easement number one, fish and game, easement number two is,
So if you have the
National
same
Grid.
easement that I have on my property, which I'm sure you do with regards to the overhead power lines, basically it's only not, it's just non-structures. So sidewalk wouldn't be considered a structure.
And they're saying that they'll help us with that, but it's
So I
the
don't-
other
I don't,
owner.
like you said, I agree with you 100%. I don't think it's, I think it's a non-issue as it relates to them, it's just a process.
right.
As it relates to the other one, that's when I
Yeah,
say I don't know anything about
so,
that.
so this one says, no removal, filling, or other disturbance of soil surface.
And who is
Oh,
that?
hold on, you could let her
This is
read the.
fishing games
the-
easement.
okay, fish and game.
95. No removal, filling, or other disturbance of soil surface, nor any changes in topography, surface, or subsurface water systems, wetlands, natural habitat shall be permitted on the property, except upon the grantee's written permission. And throughout, it says, no pavement.
I think it's,
So I guess kind of the easy way to kind of go about it, if you really wanna technically look at it, is we've got green space, it's always well maintained and mowed. If we want to put a gate and a fence
Are you talking about on
on
Corning
those
property?
stalls. Yeah, we put a gate there, people can walk across the easement and then continue them.
On a gate from your property to ours?
Yep,
Yeah.
we can do something like that, and then we have the access that goes through, it's not,
I think that would be the easiest thing to do.
makes sense because now you're not dealing on the other side of the fence.
That's
You're in
dangerous.
an area where you want it right there.
Wicked bad.
All right,
Where does it wanna end, on the parking lot? Is that another
Yes.
gate there?
No,
another gate there, yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
we have a gate at the parking lot, but it would, you could get to the parking lot, and then if Renee ever builds, he's gonna build a little access through the woods there.
so
They'll never connect up though.
let me just read,
Can you find a way?
let me just read three things, just to make sure that everybody's clear. This is what I've got shown under C. No structures or improvement of any kind except for ancillary structures shall be constructed, placed, or introduced into the property. No structure or improvement of any kind. We'll figure out what that means. Next item, prohibited structures and improvements include, but are not limited to, dwellings, septic systems, tennis courts, swimming pools, docks, wharves, aircraft landing strips, towers, mobile homes, golf courses, or pay-to-fish facilities.
Huh?
Right.
You can put a sidewalk in there then.
Then the next item down, item 2, ancillary structures and improvements such as unpaved roads, dams, fences, footbridges, culvert shed may be constructed, placed, or introduced into the property as necessary in the accomplishment of the non-commercial outdoor recreational use of the property, so long as they're not detrimental to the purpose of this easement and have been approved by the grantee after submitting plans thereto.
Sounds like that's it right there.
That's
Yeah,
it.
that
That's it
sounds like
right
we're
there.
okay.
Sound like it's that restricted to me.
Nope.
You
I
just
might
have
be
to,
missing
you just have
something.
to submit a plan.
That's it. You submit the drawings, a little
No,
sketch. where it's
in
going.
writing what you wanna do.
Yeah.
That's the easement that exists on the property.
Yeah.
But then, look at D, no removal, filling, or other disturbance of soil
Yeah, but
surface.
now
But unless, it said unless given permission.
It's used for recreation, I mean, that's
Doesn't
what
it?
the sidewalk is.
And it's
for.
not
Upon
for,
the
it's not for
grantee's
commercial
permission.
use, we're not building anything, we're just using it to,
Yes, so,
Get
I'm
more
sorry for standing,
accessible.
But I'm sitting too much today.
I think there's your hole right
so,
there.
so you could put in a stone dust if you wanted to, it sounded like.
We'll
which
fill
is
it up.
plenty anyway.
What we need to do is get you some meets and bounds on that
Yeah.
with a plan, so that we can send it up for their approval.
Formalize it.
So I told you you need to be here.
I guess so. Well, I mean, I already laid out a plan of that. We can just
Yeah.
throw it right on.
Did they have a
Say-
copy of the deed that you have there?
You can email, you have it.
I don't, I
Electronic?
have like a link to it. It's on our portal.
Do you want me to email you the
But You
deed?
got a pen on you?
Yep.
Book a page.
Book and page is 5652, 832.
8:31.
Oh, I have
It
832.
starts, well, it starts at 8:31.
Okay.
Yeah, then it goes to 8:32, 8:33.
Yep.
32, item 2.
Yeah, I mean, it falls right in that, as verbatim as to what you said. And honest, in my experience with Fish and Game is, if you cold call someone on something like that, they have they have to be very conservative in their response, because a lot of the new easements are written in certain ways, but for recreation purposes and the purposes of paths, there's always exceptions for that, in my experience.
She was a land agent, just dealing with a lot of big projects, and this was just a little.
Okay. So next steps. Next steps are,
We'll get you the plan.
okay.
You'll have to make the formal submission,
Can you do that, John?
and then once we get that answer back, we can proceed.
All right.
That's
We'll see what happens.
Very good.
Anybody else got anything on that? Barn burner.
That took significantly less time, though.
Okay. Everybody good? I'm gonna go back to the agenda. I think we're,
Can we say goodnight?
No.
To them,
Oh,
not
to
to
them.
us.
I
Take a
think,
go, take
I
a.
think you guys are good.
All right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
time.
Next item
Thank
on
you.
the agenda, hopefully quickly, Darapon, milfoil.
I gotta leave, I got a little problem at home, okay, and it's not because I wanna go, I have to go.
Okay.
Make a note, Mr.
Lynch.
Yeah,
Mr. Lynch
Mr.
left,
Sullivan, Mr. Lynch has departed the building at 8:16 PM.
yeah.
Okay, so.
The rest is not bad.
I called the Crystal Lake people, well, I sent emails, and I finally hunted down a couple of people, some people on the website no longer worked for them. They have done work with Arbor Pro before, they didn't really give me a yay or nay, I don't know if this person actually worked with them, they didn't know the guy's name. He is the only person that can actually do the work, so we don't
Okay.
have any other choice.
Mr. Lynch just left, we had homework for him, that he was gonna try to find out what we would have to do to, get these guys under contract, because they're over $10,000.
Right, you have to go to the selectmen probably, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, all we need to do is get the thing rolling, I guess. I don't know what else I can do.
When do we have to give him we wanna do it this year, so
Right.
when would he
Now.
like to have a contract in place?
I think as soon as he gets a contract, he can start filing the paperwork, which I think takes some time. Now, we do have to notify the abutters, and
He does.
yes, he does. Recreation thought that perhaps we should have a meeting and bring the abutters in beforehand, just to give them a warning. But I think it's going to improve their property area, and they can only stop it, if, one person owns more than 25% of the area or something like that. I think it's gonna be beneficial to all the abutters, so
Yep.
I don't think they're gonna have a problem with it, so I think we can just go through with the normal, and if they need a hearing, they can come in, we can talk about it.
Yeah, because they'll get, I think it's probably a certified letter they get.
Certified letter, it goes in the newspaper, who reads that, but, yeah.
Okay,
So, if I need to do something to talk to selectmen or something, let me know. I mean,
Do we need a motion?
do we need, what do you folks think? I mean, do you wanna vote on this tonight, or get a little more info and vote next month, or what?
We wanna get it
I
done.
think we,
I don't think
I
we've
would
been
like to
on
move
this.
forward. I don't know if I'm now a voting member or not, since he left.
No.
Okay.
because
We
Kevin-
can't replace him.
Can't replace Kevin.
Selectmen.
I-
Nobody can replace Kevin.
Pretty big shoes. So,
Actually, I think he's about a size 8.
Maybe a 6.
so do you need to know, So whoever makes this motion, do they need to know the dollar amount?
Yeah, and then we also just gotta get the wording behind the scenes right, like, so we've gotta make sure, we did not go out to bid on this, and I know that they're the
We
only
tried.
folks.
I called every licensed, state licensed, herbicide, aquatic herbicide applicator, to try to get a quote, and I only got one back.
100% agree.
Okay.
Yep,
But I
totally
didn't-
go with
I-
that, but it's not it's the Board of Selectmen's
True,
call to
right.
waive the purchasing policy.
Sure.
And so we would have to go out to an RFP, and we would have to get one back. We'd have to go to official RFP and only get one back, we're good. But you made phone calls instead of sending out an official RFP. So I think we just need to make sure in the motion that it says, pending approval by the Board of Selectmen to waive the town's purchasing policy.
But he, instead of an RFP, he contacted everybody.
He did, but I don't think it's an official, I don't know, Town Administrator Kleiner's still in, if you are, that it's not, I'm just saying that it's not an official procurement. We did not put an RFP out in the streets, send it to 3 people, and only got one back. We made phone calls to everybody in the state, and only one gave us a call back, and we got a proposal from them. So it's not like we went through the quote-unquote official process. So I think we would probably just need to get approval from the Board of Selectmen to waive the purchasing policy on this. That's what I think.
Okay.
Because I don't think what we did was, we got prices from everybody, we did the right thing, but I don't think it just might fit the exact letter of the law related to the purchasing policy.
So, Mr. Chair, I have a question again. Can we make a motion that we approve it and approve the money amount, based on the selectmen approving, the way that we procured the
Yeah,
the information?
I think so.
And then mention where you're taking the money from, because we don't have that in our
That
budget.
is right. And what's the dollar amount?
10,850.
10,850. So Diane, 10,850, number one.
Who's the vendor again?
It is, Arbor Pro,
Like the tree, ARBOR?
yes, yes. Arbor Pro, shoot. I think there's another thing in at the end of them. Arbor Pro Plant Care.
So 10,850 for milfoil treatment of Dara Pond. Any stipulations on that? Like, what was it, a 1 dose or 2 dose thing?
I don't think there's any stipulations. I mean, we do have a bid.
And was
He's
there
he's
some,
gonna prepare and file the permits, he's gonna do the treatments, post-treatment surveys, residue sampling.
Based on the proposal
and wasn't
received?
there something besides the milfoil, some muck?
Yeah, muck
thing?
away,
Muck away.
yeah,
So I think we could just say based on the proposal received.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
And,
What's the date on that?
11:30.
and then just, based on approval of the Board of Selectmen and the town's purchasing policy. I think that would work.
Where are we taking the money from? Did we say that?
Money to be taken from the Conservation Fund.
Try and get on
Okay.
the Monday night meeting.
Okay, we good? Anybody have a motion?
I have a motion. I would like to make a motion that we approve $10,850 to be removed from the Conservation's Land Fund to fund Arbor Pro Plant Care to fulfill a milfoil treatment on Dara Pond based on the proposal that we received on November 30th, 2023, with the stipulation that the Board of Selectmen needs to understand that although we contacted 3 different sources, only one got back to us, and we did this via phone as opposed to a letter. So that would be my
pending their approval.
pending their approval. Yes, I think I said that. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make that motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Diane, seconded by Mr. Fred French. Any comments by anybody? Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote.
Yes.
Mr. Hoffman, Mr. Menzikian,
Yes.
Ms. Plansky,
Yes.
Ms. McGibbon,
Yes,
Mr. French.
Yes.
I am a yes. Motion passes 600.
Great.
I think, if you could, we're gonna need to send a letter to the board. Probably need to go to the Board of Selectmen at the next meeting and get on the agenda.
UNJ.
Yeah.
Okay.
Monday, 12th, February 12th,
Okay.
if you can
Got
get
a
on
couple
that.
things you need a letter to planning to. Okay, next item on the agenda.
The 3-year study.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so I got a call from Maxwell Maynard at DES. And I will just read it to you. There's a fact sheet online, but it's a big, long URL. Here's a quick summary of what we would do. We would access the site, we're talking about Dara Pond, for 3 consecutive years for a total of 4 times, provided an extra visit isn't needed due to some equipment malfunction or unexpected field issues. The first year, 2024, would be a visit in spring, just after the ice leaves the pond, and then again in August. Then in July and June for 2025 and 2026, respectively. We would survey the deep spot of the pond on every one of the 4 visits to conduct water quality sampling and a dissolved oxygen/temperature profile of the pond. Some of the water quality parameters that we sample for are pH, alkalinity, apparent color, conductivity, chloride, turbidity, total phosphorus, total KJ, ELDAHL, nitrogen, nitrate and nitrogen, sulfate, and selected something or other.
Cations.
Thank you, Cajuns, and anions. The other work will include a complete, how do you say that one, Beth? That you did like
Bathymetry.
Bathymetric.
map of the pond, 10 habitat assessment locations around the perimeter of the pond, an aquatic vegetation survey, and a plankton sample. Once all work is done, in 2026, we produce a public report that we call a lake trophic report. This document will have all the data collected along with maps and visuals to help make the data more easily understood. And then he sends an example of it. The report would also be posted on our New Hampshire DES Lake Information Mapper, which can be accessed at this site. So that's what they would like to do, no cost to the town, and I said I would get back to him after this meeting.
So I have a question right off the bat.
Sure.
Should we inform them that we're doing our milfoil work? And that perhaps after our milfoil will be done, that perhaps they would want to do this in 2025?
Yeah, because that can impact oxygen levels and.
But that would be good for them. I'll let them know about that and see what they have to say.
Yeah, bring it up to them.
Yeah.
They may come in before the treatment, we don't know when we're doing the
Right, because
treatment,
it's
so
as soon as
then it would
ice
still be
goes out.
valid.
Right,
Point.
right, yeah. So we would, I think,
They'll probably be ahead of it.
And ice out could be next week.
So is everybody, in agreement that this is a good idea?
Yeah.
I
it's a
think-
great
I think
idea, it's
a
just
great
it's
idea.
timing, it's
So-
question to
Well,
me.
he'd be right after ice is out, which would be before the other issue, but
April.
I'll tell
Right, but do we wanna have do we wanna look at it
Yeah.
Yeah, you wanna
after?
know what it looks like beforehand.
Oh,
Either
okay.
way, it's.
Yeah.
I was
Because they're gonna
thinking
do
we-
it for
I was
3
thinking we-
years, and so
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
hopefully it would be so much better
Yeah.
the next year.
okay.
Ties in perfect.
So are you looking for a motion? Or can we just tell them yes?
Just, if everybody's in agreement.
Yeah, if you throw a motion on the table here, just to make it official that we're gonna
Okay.
allow the New Hampshire, who is it?
DES,
DES to complete a study of Dara Pond. I
3-year
think that'll
study.
be good.
yes, so moved.
Okay.
Second,
So we have a motion by Joan, seconded by Diane. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Was that an aye?
It was an I.
it's an I too.
Motion carries 600.
Is that the first time we've been on the books?
No, they did it, he said like 10 years ago.
I see.
Oh, it'd be nice to get comparison.
Yeah,
Well, a lot going on tonight, folks. All right, next item on the agenda, fishing derby. Anything on the fishing derby? First, we'll go to
Winter.
the winter fishing derby.
All right, so
Quickly.
I just went to, Dara today. There's 6 to 6.5 inches of ice.
Oh.
Okay, so it's better than I thought. But, so we could possibly, we had a date of the 24th. We'd have to pick a time frame for when they can do it. We probably should advertise sooner rather than later, and we can always cancel if we don't have enough ice. I would only want to do it if the ice conditions are really good, because I don't want to deal with a kid falling in. So, you know, I was thinking a time frame of, I don't know, maybe like 8 to noon or something like that, so it's hard capped. I don't know what you do for the,
Usually 8 to 11.
8 to 11.
How much
Better
ice
than-
do you need for minimum amount of ice?
I think 6 inches would be a good safety region. And so what happens is, as we're getting this melting now, the top layer of ice is snow that's melted and it's a little grayer, and the bottom ice is the black, which is the harder ice. So when we get this melting and then another freeze, that top layer will get more solid. So right now, it's like after this weekend, it might be great for skating down there, because the top layer will be all nice and smooth. But it might not be good for little kids walking around on glare ice. We'll see.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, you know, the age range would be, you know, 16 and under, I think, right? Is that?
Because you don't need a license.
Pardon?
What do you do for your age?
15.
15. So, I could make a little, you know, flyer that we could put on our page if
George,
we wanted to do it.
how young do you want them out there? 6?
As long as they're with their parents.
As long
I mean,
as
I
with
don't
the
think
parents, it doesn't
matters,
Well,
right?
you gotta be a little careful, because you don't want 3-year-olds out there.
They gotta have their parents, if their parents have to have a license if they do that.
Not in the derby,
Oh, they don't?
right?
No,
As long as
on
the
a
kid, as long
fishing
as the parent
derby.
doesn't catch the fish, as long as the
Yeah,
kids
okay,
catches the fish.
Right, all right,
So,
because they're.
So do we
That's
need,
why the age.
did we make a motion on this last time? I can't remember.
I think we said we wanted to do it, but I don't know if we did an official motion or not.
Anybody got any issues with this?
I kind of like Harry's idea that we maybe upscale it and say 6 to 15 or 8 to 15.
How about 5?
5 is good
I
for
mean-
me.
I don't know how old this girl was just this last weekend, but I had some little, I mean, according to her mother, she could not stop talking about, you know, ice fishing, and she had never.
Then let's let her in.
So I think
Okay.
5-year-olds will be fine.
Okay.
Okay, well,
I mean, if they can play T-ball, they can ice fish.
when, so when would be the drop dead date or something like that when we know where,
We'll probably know the Thursday or Friday, well, maybe the Wednesday before, something like that. So,
Yeah, so the temperature's supposed to drop pretty good next week, and we're gonna have a good cold
It
stretch,
is?
so it,
What do you figure, George,
uh,
about
it depends on what that following week
a
is.
week,
It's like-
week ahead of time?
I thought we
Um,
were like,
I like the Wednesday, well,
Or the Wednesday of that?
the Wednesday, like, yeah, by the 21st, maybe we would
Yeah.
know whether it's gonna
Go or no go?
go or no go.
yeah, next week is
After Saturday, then it cools off again. Sunday,
low
Monday.
30s for a high.
Yeah, and down the teens at night, so it
Teens at night.
should make good ice.
Okay.
Right. So we would know, but say Wednesday the 21st, whether it's gonna,
oh yeah, really
Go
cool
or
next
not.
week.
All right,
And-
no cost to the,
15,
we don't,
27.
no cost to the commission.
right, I'm gonna buy the bait and give a couple
I'll help you
prizes.
out too. Just let us-
Yeah, well, I intend to be there. It's kind of a bucket.
gonna-
Well,
list
there'll be a
item.
cost to you.
Damn it.
I'll bring a couple jigging rods. I
Okay,
thought those would be better than tip-ups sometimes.
okay.
Who
Keep the
would
kids
be
more, entertained.
Yeah,
the only
Yeah, I've got stuff to bring too, so.
concern I would have is like, who would be the authority just to make sure the ice is good? Would we contact like the fire department or something like that, just to like,
Ooh.
I'd leave it up
thumbs
to,
up or down?
Leave
or-
it up to me.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
have a auger thing, auger?
Yeah, yeah, I have an auger. I
Do
should
we
have
want
taken
to
a
have the
picture
fire
today.
department present though?
Um,
They will probably be able to do that.
well, if he does that, then he's gotta get hold of Kim.
Probably have to get hold of Kim anyway.
oh boy. I'm just trying to do a little fishing derby. So,
It's the town, though.
do I need, okay, do you take out a insurance policy when you do these?
No,
No.
You're covered in the town.
what you have to do, if you're gonna involve the fire department or any other town service,
Sorry,
Yep.
I know.
you gotta get hold of Kim
if a kid goes in the
Okay.
water.
and
I
talk
wanna
to
make
her.
sure.
George?
Yeah.
Yeah, you and I need to get hold of Kim about the fishing derby in the May,
Okay.
anyway, so.
We'll both go together, hit it with both fishing derbies.
Yeah,
Okay,
so we could, if someone wanted to make a motion, we could say winter fishing derby, pending weather and pending, Board of Selectmen and Town Administrator approval, something like that would be fine. If they need to have a fire, folks from the fire department down there, then we can
You can call Doug.
discuss that.
okay, between Cam and the
Now,
fire
now
department.
you said it, we had to have one down there.
Sorry.
No, I think it's a
What?
good point.
I think No, a fireman.
No, just
Fire
a,
truck can drive out there and rescue.
I don't think anybody's gonna.
Okay, in case they wanna do a water rescue, yeah, okay,
That's what, the only reason I'm thinking,
okay.
the kid goes in the water, I want it's in there fast.
so, what, oh, are we waiting for a motion?
Yeah.
Are we waiting for someone to make a?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay, I make a motion that we, have the ice fishing derby on May 24th,
February 24th.
February,
or
February,
February 24th.
February.
February 24th, pending approval as of the May. March 21st,
February
whether it's a,
21st.
pardon?
February
February.
February, sorry. February 21st,
Fourth,
a go, no-go situation, and having fire department available.
If the, volunteers can make it, fire.
I would say per approval of the Board of Selectmen.
We don't need the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah,
Just-
you do, it's on town property, I think you do.
we get it for the regular one.
No, we don't.
Yes, you
I
can.
remember
You've
going
been
and
to the
getting
Board
it.
of Selectmen?
Excuse me? No, the two fishing derbies, we did not need the Board of Selectmen.
How about the town administrator?
Pardon?
Town administrator?
We're gonna contact.
The town
we're gonna
administrator.
Contact
Okay.
him. Okay,
Okay.
Okay.
all right,
If the town administrator has an issue with it that needs to be elevated up to the Board of Selectmen, we'll hear about it, and we can,
yeah,
we
Quickly,
can
yeah.
figure it out from there.
okay,
That's the motion.
Okay,
that's a
we
motion.
have a motion by Harry, do we have a second?
I second.
We'll have a second by, we'll go with you, Fred, because you didn't have a second before, and Nat said 7 seconds. Okay, so we got a motion by Harry, seconded by Fred, is there any further discussion?
No.
Take it to a vote, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries 6-0. Sounds like we're planning a winter fishing derby at Dara Pond on February 24th, pending town approval
And ice.
and good ice.
Good ice.
All right. Fishing derby part 2, anything on that?
Yes. Can you get this over to George? George, what is the application for the fishing derby?
Okay,
And what I need you to do is I need you to put your name in there, and if you would email it up to Concord,
sure,
okay?
Tattoo. It's
And then
dirt.
afterwards, you and I will get together, there's some more information that I need to get to you,
okay,
okay?
sure,
Wait.
I need okay, what I do need is I need a motion to buy, George and I talked about it at some length, a motion to buy 200 fish at $4.25 per fish, which turns out to be something like $850. And the reason, pardon?
Wait a minute, what happened?
What?
50.
I thought, it sounds like they've gone up.
Yes, oh yeah, they went up by 75 cents, easily. And the reason we picked the number 200 is because the state will supply another 200, so that means a total of 400 fish in that stream. And we've, over the
That's in
past
addition
years.
to their regular stocking that they do earlier in the year, correct?
Pardon?
That's in addition
Yeah.
to the regular
Addition,
stocking. that
right.
they do, yeah.
So, that's more than sufficient.
Yeah.
And hopefully it won't rain.
But we're gonna split that 850 with rec.
We'll split it with
Okay, that's why that,
recreation.
okay, thank you. I'm like, do you see me? You know I'm going for the what other number, but
So
okay.
what's the 200 times whatever the per unit divided by 2?
425.
200 times 425 equals 850 divided by 2 equals 425.
All right, and, I already,
So
spoke to
the
rec.
reason I need that motion is so that we can order the fish.
Oh, yeah, so,
Okay.
yeah, somebody, but I have already, I went to the last rec meeting for something, I can't remember why I was there.
Oh, we
We've been
went
to a
for
lot of meetings
milfoil.
lately, yeah.
I went to almost every single
We went for,
meeting.
George and I went for milfoil.
No, I went to the, I went
You went
to another
again?
one, yes.
Every time I turn on the TV, George is at a
Go,
meeting.
George, go.
So, so
For
they,
political office.
they,
Oh, I have a couple of those open.
they know, that it's gonna be 425, I've already told them that. no.
Awesome,
Excellent.
perfect.
So can we make what do we make the motion for? 425 or the 850 pending getting half of the money from rec? How do you want us to
How
handle
about
that?
425?
Just the way you said it.
Okay.
We don't have 825 though,
So I can't make a motion,
no.
but it should be that, the motion should be that we're gonna buy 200 fish at $4.25
$4.25 a fish.
And then we're gonna split the cost with rec,
Right.
Okay.
right? And then.
Pending rec's approval
Right,
too.
right. Pending rec's approval, and the amount will be $4.25.
Okay. Anybody want to make that motion?
I'll do it.
Okay, thank you.
I would like to make a motion, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
that we buy 200 fish for the May Fishing Derby at a price of $850 to be split with rec. So each board would have to come up with $425 for this project.
Pending rec approval.
You just said they know it.
Well,
But
pending.
they have to.
Pending rec approval.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
second it.
Okay. Nice job, Diane. You're doing a good job tonight.
Thank you. I'm
You
here for
must have
you.
gone on
She's
vacation and cleared
fresh.
your mind. Motion by Diane, seconded by Harry. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, all those abstained, motion passes 6-0-0 for fishing derby in May at Parker Park, where there's gonna be 400 fish in the park,
In the park.
In the Merrimack.
And we only have to pay for 2.
Hey, just one question for Harry and George. Is there restrictions on for the adults that are helping for needing licenses?
I found out that I was slightly in error. Is if we get the permit, then the parents can help the kids do whatever they need to do.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, that's so much better.
And,
Yeah.
right, and so what I'm gonna do, I have a scale, right, and so I'm gonna give prizes to the top 2 that are, well, I'll figure out the age range, like 10 and under, and 10, and older, like 11 to 15 and 10 to 5. And the kid can weigh their fish, we'll write down their name, get a picture of them with their weight, and we'll give, so they'll be able to get the whole thing, and we'll just do it on paper, and we can throw all the fish back in, so we won't be killing fish, we'll just,
Some of them want them, though.
I don't know if they're gonna, I don't know if they're gonna be eating.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't even know if we should
even
eat
for
them
the,
What, I don't know if there's,
Well, you
I don't
were
think
there
there's a water
last year.
quality
yeah,
issue.
we had like
But if you look
three
at
people
it,
keep
there's a
fish.
lot of tannins in the water, so it's a dark water, I don't
Yeah.
think,
There's a lot of what?
tannins,
And from the
like,
trees.
from the trees, like
Okay.
oak trees and stuff like, yeah, so,
Like the stuff in wine that
All
makes
right.
you hungover.
so anyways.
I'm not an angler.
George,
Yeah,
let me just tell you right now,
yeah,
there will be probably a 75% kill. And the other thing is, less than 2% of the people wanted to bring the fish on.
Right.
So, those are great expectations, but don't be surprised if they don't happen.
yeah.
Leave 'em on ice for the Eagles.
Perch are hardy, and
Anyway,
yeah, but whatever.
And it'll
But
be
so that's-
cold, so they're-
So anyway, so that's the
Yeah.
Oh,
plan.
they're
is
hot
we
on the
shouldn't-
banks, you know, they're dying.
We shouldn't have, I don't think that many will die, but we'll see.
We'll do our best
and
to
I'll
keep
get
them.
with George to take care of some more stuff,
Yep, excellent.
Perfect.
okay?
Good.
Yay!
Man.
Jeez.
All right,
God,
other,
we're-
getting down there, other business, we'll kind of whip through this pretty quickly. Property checks, property maintenance, anybody, I mean, it's been snowing out, anybody gone out there? And Joan wrote a report about Moore's
Morris
Falls.
Falls, yeah.
I was down there today as
Kind of
well.
depressing.
It was beautiful when it was down there today.
Well, they're not leaving the poop in the bag, they're just leaving the poop.
So when I went down, I only found one poop, but it was frozen, so I couldn't get it up.
Yeah.
I wasn't kicking it with my cleats.
Oh.
I did find like a can of, like paint, that was down by the fishing area behind St. Francis, which I took that
Is their
obviously.
tube still there?
I didn't see that.
The blue thing?
In a tube. With
Oh,
It had a bottom and it would have made a good sled for my dog.
oh.
No, but I'd have taken it.
Pass that up.
Hey, give this to Terry.
And,
Pass this back to her. Give it to
and
Terry.
other than that, there was coyote poop, but I always leave that because, for the reason of, I wanna be able to know that the coyotes are using it, and it reminds people there are coyotes out there. It also lets the animals know the coyotes are out there, the dogs that you walk.
That's for you, I had an extra.
Anybody got else anything? I've
Okay,
Well, we did have,
Maintenance.
one thing, we did go down to, Parker Park and looked at potential, sites for putting in a bridge.
we did, yep. We did.
yeah, I saw the email on
We've
that.
got a couple spots, so when it thaws out, maybe go back down there and see pick one out, and
Yeah.
maybe get some people that know what they're looking at to check it out.
When you go down next time, let's look for an area to come up into the garden too. because
We
we're
were
gonna have
considering that.
Yeah.
You did do that?
yeah.
Oh my God, you guys are my heroes, because we're gonna have we already have
There
picnic
was-
tables up there, people can have
We'll get you covered.
picnics out there and stuff.
It's a couple
Lovely.
of good spots.
Nice.
Okay, what I
Anything else?
just,
So,
what I passed out was, I need you guys to look at that list. Circle what you think you wanna see for, UNH on the conference
Oh.
that we had,
Cool.
Nice, Harry.
okay.
and then just pass them back to me.
Oh, you want them right now?
Now?
Yeah,
Now, okay, so while they're doing that, I'll read it to the public. So what we have in here is Harry, Mr. Menzikian has done a very good job going to the UNH Cooperative Extension and seeing what type of courses they have that we may want to bring to Litchfield. On the list are, some of these are, gonna be very popular. Composting, Diane? Container gardening, dividing perennials, gardening in a changing climate, getting the garden ready for spring, incorporating native plants into your landscape,
George, you can fill it in for Kevin.
growing a pollinator garden,
I'll be
I got
Kevin.
that, I circled that one already.
herb gardening, invasive plants,
Putting the garden to bed.
putting the garden to bed, raising bed gardening, seed saving, seed starting and propagation, vegetable gardening, winter seed sowing of native plants for your garden.
I love the, putting the garden to bed one, from a conservation standpoint, because a lot of the tendency is that once these plants have gone by, people are like, okay, I'm gonna cut those all down, I'm gonna bring up the next, or get it all cleaned up for the
Circle the ones we
winter,
think
where
are
in
good.
fact, we have a lot of animals that are living in those.
So are we did this,
Circle 'em, send them
I did.
back over.
Send them back.
That's those, I like them all,
Yeah.
that I
I don't
circled.
have a pen, cause I use a computer. Yeah, but I think for the sake of the community garden, vegetable gardening
Yeah, I circled that one,
Yeah.
yep,
and getting the garden ready for spring.
yep.
Diane, go.
When are you thinking about doing that?
Move on, move on.
Yep, so Harry, the next time we come by, what are you gonna do? Gonna take a
Well, I'll
look at?
just take the most popular one, and we'll go with that.
First,
Okay.
but hang on to it, because then we're gonna use another
Should have
one.
done ranked voting.
Thank
like
you,
me.
Harry. Harry, you are the man when it's coming to these. Really appreciate it.
Whose pen?
Jason's.
That would be mine.
Thank you.
It's not a.
I
Okay,
have something under member input.
wow, member input. We'll go around the horn here. We'll start with Matt.
Just curious, so we're probably tight on time, but we were talking about goals for next year.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yes.
delay that until next month.
Next month,
Yes.
goals.
Yep.
That's all I had, and just wanted to discuss that when we can.
Harry, anything?
No.
Diane?
Just appreciation for the work everybody keeps continuing to do on our board. It's always a pleasure to be coming into these meetings now.
I don't have anything.
I do.
Okay.
Okay, you probably don't know about the Garden Street Fen. and we own a property up on Garden Street that's called the Garden Street Fen. So in the
Spell
spring,
that?
Fen,
Okay.
Fen, like the Fenway.
and we need to, get in there in the spring and clean up whatever tires and other stuff is in there.
We love a good cleanup project.
It'll be, put your waders
Clean
on,
up what?
the Garden Street Fen.
Yeah, but there's
There's probably,
tires?
I don't know what's in there, there were some tires.
Really?
And bring the tractor down, Joe.
Is it,
No, I haven't been in there in a while, so need to get in there and see what's happening.
I've never been there. Why isn't it on our list of properties
I'm
we,
looking, I'm just going on the Google right now.
yeah,
God, my eyeballs are starting to
All
see
the
double
driving?
here.
Where is the Fen?
Garden Street.
Garden Drive?
Garden Drive.
I know, but
It's halfway in the
field?
middle. No, that's Mike Lane.
Oh,
Uh,
it's in the middle? You said it's that,
yeah,
is
I
that an
have the
empty
tax
lot?
map, but I don't have the tax map number with me.
It's an empty lot?
Yeah, it's an empty lot.
Okay.
It's got
In
water.
the middle? Okay.
is it in that
Water.
area?
What the heck?
Where are you?
Where is it, Diane? Is
Where
it,
are you?
it doesn't even know it exists. Isn't it up by Lance?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in there someplace.
It's Jeff Lane Garden, yeah.
Oh, Jeff Lane,
April
that's dead end.
Garden, right there. Garden Drive, not Garden Street.
Right.
Garden
Okay,
Drive.
that's why I was going
Okay,
with the
so
cookie.
get bigger.
Is it at the dead
And-
end?
Is it at the end?
No, it's
That's-
in the middle.
Really?
Right there,
thing?
right there, right there, right there, right there.
All right.
That green
That-
spot.
That green spot.
You know,
show me again?
it baffles my
Can
mind
you-
back
can you-
when we were doing planning in these days that they just took like one
Yeah.
house lot and said, we're not gonna build there. We
weird?
think it's gonna be like an open space and it just like never really,
Well, there's water in that. There's,
oh, okay.
and on Mike Lane, there used to be a pond that they filled.
People threw trash in there or something?
Well, no, it's, like I said, I haven't been there to look at it.
Can you poke
in a
it
while.
again? Show me.
It's
But
the
you
one in
should
the
always
middle.
have
The one that's got nothing on it?
Yeah.
Okay. In between the swimming pools.
by a garden or by the cul-de-sac?
I don't know that there, is too much of anything, but we just need to take a look at it and somebody knows
Okay,
where
and
it
that is conservation land?
Yes. The lady wanted us to buy it, but finally she gave it to us because we weren't gonna buy it.
Smart move.
Let me just, not that I don't
She's paying
believe you,
taxes
but
on
I'm gonna just, there it is right there.
Yeah, there it is.
And, oop,
Tax map
there, I'm gonna click
says
on it,
Look on it.
exempt municipal use.
and I do. It says Litchfield Town of.
Yeah.
But I don't, it could say, in the deed, it might say conservation underneath the scenes,
I
but,
must have a,
okay.
property thing on it, in the file, look, property,
All right, well, when the snow melts, we'll take a look at that.
okay.
Go out there with the truck and pull stuff out.
Well, if there is anything, I'll take a look at it. Okay, so that's all I have.
Fred, anything?
Yeah, I'm starting to get information on the bat house. And, I'm looking for input from Joan if you'd like. I got two options that I think are the best is, Moore's Falls by the field in that area somewhere.
Towards the river?
Yeah, but they don't recommend you to put it in the woods, the bat houses, 'cause, chipmunks and squirrels and stuff get in the nest
Now,
and,
did you said you know where the metal one is?
Yep,
Down at the fire station.
at the fire station, we,
Big one.
we
Yeah, yeah.
discovered
Or a
Big.
wooden one?
It's metal,
metal, a
Huge.
wooden one, and it's
metal.
It's
Yeah,
gonna
it's-
be this wide
Wow.
and this tall.
Was it like?
Is
It's
it
it's like a
ugly?
grandfather clock. It's
Yeah.
big.
We need something to put it on.
yeah, there needs to be, I got the heights, average heights, and needs to be
Okay.
facing the east and stuff like that. So,
Don't we wanna put it
that
where,
site and the, Musket site would be the
Musket,
two picks that I,
yeah.
What's the height of it have to be?
10 to 20 feet.
So can we mount it on a tree instead of putting a
No,
pole
they
up?
don't recommend that because squirrels go, and chipmunks go up in, make a
Okay.
nest and stay in it and the
What do you
bats
mount
don't.
it on?
You gotta, that's the thing, I was talking to George, I
Big pole?
corralled George to help me put it up. We're gonna have to put it on, I would say a 4x4. Dig a
How do you get it?
hole.
Wait a minute, there's a guy that does signs around the corner from me that he had volunteered last time, so we could contact him. Has a sign company.
Yeah, I don't know if we can get the vehicle in there where we wanna put it.
Oh.
That's the only thing.
Well, you might have recommendations for material to use too.
Yeah, but I would rather use wood than, you can use either wood or metal, but,
Yeah, because
I'd
what,
rather
what
use
can you get a 4x4 in 16 feet length?
yeah, we
Okay.
could do
So
that.
bury it
Put it in
3
4 feet.
feet. Yeah,
Can I
3,
make a
4 feet.
request that one go as opposed to, Moore's Falls into the garden? Cause it would be an area where
Oh.
we could cut down on.
You wanna be by, well, you wanna be by water, but you're near the brook, but I don't know if that's enough water. You wanna be like near a swamp or a
Swampy,
river.
marshy
It's pretty
areas
buggy
best.
over there.
It,
So
it
just
needs
think
to
about-
face east.
We got time to think about where you wanna put it, but think about it, I'm open to that.
Yeah.
George said he'd help me put it up, so.
Yeah.
Get
Now,
a couple.
do you have one? I think I have another
No,
one.
somebody said there was one down at
Well,
the,
that's the big metal one, and
Yeah.
I think I have a wooden one in my shed.
so if you have a wooden one, supposed to stain it first before we put it up. Not.
Brad,
Stain
Could
it
be
or,
painted, but-
stain it or
you
leave it
consider
natural.
using PCV,
PVC.
pipe, PVC pipe.
Would be solid.
don't
One
know
of
if
the
that would be
problems
strong
is you
enough.
have to clean them out after they use them for a couple years,
Whoa.
and that's kind
Wanna.
of, gets kind of, yeah.
For the community
You
garden.
gotta have a mask and gloves and.
Big-
Or
yeah.
we could just put them in the dump. No, that's probably done.
Right,
So-
but we could, if we can get a pickup truck to where we're putting it in, we could put like a step ladder in the
In the
back of the
back,
pickup truck.
that'd
to-
make OSHA.
To go up there.
Suck 'em, didn't hear that.
We're going into non-public. We can talk about it
Okay.
then.
So anyway,
Okay.
if you have some ideas on
Kidding,
locations.
Right.
I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
Cool, I like that. And I don't mind like the muster field, it's really buggy
Yeah,
up
that'd
there.
be a
I think
Yeah,
it's a
that's
good
why I was
spot.
thinking
I
two
think that'd
places
be
where
a-
we,
Yeah.
Perfect spot.
yeah, that would actually make an
Or the
impact,
garden
because
area
they're
too,
smaller
because
than like
people
Moore's Falls
may be
is so
using it more
big.
than
Yeah.
the muster field.
Unless we put
It's a
10
lot of-
down there.
You probably
And
wouldn't
it's
want
got
less
more-
people
less
around.
activity. So I think
But-
they'd like
They
to.
come out
Yeah.
at the dusk.
I know, but it's gonna control the mosquitoes where the people are gonna be, right?
Good point.
That's why I asked for the
Yeah.
garden one.
Yeah.
So
It's
maybe we
working
do
at
two,
night.
but we'll start with one and go from there.
All right, that's a plan for this spring. George, anything?
I got nothing.
I got nothing either.
You'll have something though.
Next item, we're done. Next item is public input. Seeing that nobody's here, we'll open public input at 8:56, and we'll close public input at 8:56
You don't want to
as
approve the
well.
minutes, or you wait for that till next
He's,
month? or-
he's getting there.
No, he went ahead of it.
I just have like one last comment before we adjourn. And there may be a need for an additional meeting later on in the month, and we'll put that out via email. And, we'll see what happens. So we'll know probably within a week if we need to add a meeting later on in the month. It would most likely be 26th or 7th or something like that, after the fishing derby, that last week. Okay, anybody else got anything? All right, long meeting tonight. I think we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
Do we have anything for non-public we have to cover?
Do you have anything for non-public?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right,
I
folks,
thought we should.
we do
look
have,
to,
we do have one item for non-public.
Yeah,
Just a quick-
keep everybody up to
Alright.
date on
I'm a
what's
little bit
happening.
tired.
And
All right,
we'll
so-
we'll pull those minutes next month.
I will enter, oh,
Don't worry about it, we'll do it next month.
all right. Let's go back to the meeting minutes.
You want to?
Yeah,
Now, what you do?
do we have anybody have any comments on the meeting
I
minutes?
didn't read them, I just printed them today.
All right, do you wanna table until
Yeah,
next?
yeah.
All right, we're gonna table the minutes, Matt, until next month. We do have one item in non-public per RSA 91A:3D, consideration of the acquisition, sale, or lease of real or personal property. So I will entertain a motion to go into non-public per RSA 91A:3D.
So moved.
Motion by Diane, seconded by
Second.
Joan. Roll call vote. Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Mr. Menzikian?
Yes.
Ms. Plansky?
Yes.
Ms.
Yes.
McGibbon?
Yes.
Mr. French, yes. I am a yes as well. Motion passes 600. We are now going into non-public. We will only come out of non-public to adjourn the meeting. So with that, our meeting has ended. Have a good night. Litchfield, 8:59 PM.
I should do that all night.
8, 9 o'clock.